Thanks for joining us. This is In the Shadow of Fire. This will be session number 5, entitled Sins of the Father. Last session, we had a bit of um, some things were happening. Namely, that the town was regraced with the ambassador to the Dwarven lands, and they basically explained that war was inevitable. It seemed that the dwarves are reinforcing their coastal border with the Elvish enclave, the Alan enclave, meaning Kasari Yanwi is right on the front of what will effectively be a drawn battle line if Nadrasi isn't taken and held. At the end of last session, after political communications and everything had already been sorted, the end of the effective first day of the occupation, the only sign of the Ellenshay Enclave's war sortie is the teleportation circle that was placed out at the barracks. That said, the next day would come to, and there was a pretty early morning meeting with Lady Alcantara and Ulair. Ulair, I presume you would not be late.
Really?
Okay. And
Need one last thing for to get on my back about.
Lady Alcantara, you are waiting patiently in what portion of the keep?
So I'm going to probably be waiting. I imagine actually, because I want to keep this meeting relatively private, that it would be in just like one of the smaller studies. It would just be me and, yeah, just be me for right now, just waiting for someone, or for Tim.
Okay. And you would arrive at the designated location, Ulair. And how would you like to? Or go ahead, table's yours.
So I guess I would, like right before, if there's a doorway to walk through, like just fix my hair, like kind of like fixing about, like I don't know, not looking forward to having to deal with this, but knock on the door.
Enter.
Hey, I'm here, your ladyship.
Master Crothus. How are things down at the guild?
Well enough, I guess, you know, we go out, we kill monsters, we get paid for the work.
Yes, well, I have some other work for you, specifically from Lady Erisnadel.
Oh, really now, what does, she need me to do?
Dang it, what's the name of the bridge again? Like, out of character, I'm trying to remember.
Nadrasi.
Nadrasi, right.
Is it a monster to get my men on?
Of a sort. She wants you to go to the Nadrasi Island and speak with the natives there.
The reveal on that haircut, though.
Thank you.
Sorry, continue.
Try to get them to potentially join our side in the upcoming potential fight.
Me to I feel like that's a bit outside my realm of what I do. I'm the money man, if anything. I don't really do things of state if I can avoid it.
These orders do not come from me. If it was up to me, I feel like I would agree with your assessment. You are not the world's greatest speaker. I mean that as no insult, just as fact.
I agree. I'm terrible.
That being said, I do not expect you to go there alone.
Really?
And also, at this point, if you hadn't noticed it before, she does have a set of clothes set up actually in the room that look more travel worn. I intend to go with you.
Oh, what, wondrous, joy. Yes.
That's even worse.
I know, isn't it?
Well, I mean, at least I guess show you the way and, yeah.
Oh, no,
Okay.
you will stay there with me. In fact, if you wish to also bring more speaking, you can bring along that companion of yours, the bard.
Well, I mean, companion is... If you think he'll help, I mean, we can bring him along.
Well, I feel like hopefully between the two of us, we should be able to speak eloquently enough.
I guess I can try and, track him down and see if I'm sure he'll want to come along. He likes to be in the thick of things.
Yes, and of course, you will not be accompanied alone. It will not simply be the three of us.
Oh,
I'd-
quite
Well,
the
I
party
would-
we're forming.
I would hope that you would bring some of your more trusted men in case anything goes ill with this. We are only supposed to speak, but one can never be too cautious, I feel.
Well, I mean,
Making Tim feel so uncomfortable, guys. Well, his character.
So you knew the thing is that there is sort of this tentative balance to be, that with the guild, we have somewhat of an understanding where, occasionally they will be more agreeable to us because we kind of help deal with monster problems. But the concern is they're not quite so agreeable. Recently, a little bit more standoffish and reserved, and the thing is I feel like if you want to go in there with arms of force, while you will be more protected, and yes, that is an important thing. I guess if it's mostly hunters, alright, I guess I'll bring, some of the standard men, I guess, because, I mean, if you're gonna get some of the more experienced ones, you actually need to kind of put out a contract, and this would be a bit odd, and...
Yes, I'll let you handle the details on who to bring and how many. If you feel like less is necessary to construe a lack of aggression, then I'm perfectly content with there being less.
Alright, maybe I'll bring half of who I have on hand. That, 10 men might not be too threatening, and maybe I can disperse them a bit too, just to keep eyes out in case any funny business happens. Crikey. Oh, the light. Alright, is there anything else I need to know? And he's like just struggling with the idea, like, this really isn't guild business. Why the heck are we being asked to do this? And you probably just see this like furrowed brow, and he's just like not sure how, just
I know you might consider this a burden, but perhaps view it from the perspective of someone in power trusting you to handle a dangerous mission, which might not actually help now that I think about it.
Well, alright, I guess if we're gonna make a deal out of this, how, are we gonna get some free PR with the people, try and get our good reputation back? That'd be really, how does this benefit the guild besides, like, what can be done for the guild to help us out with our public standing?
Well, that is an interesting question, and I suggest you write that down to Lady Aristotle, and I will pass it on to her. I
There's
have
Buck.
no idea.
There it goes.
Yep, that's right. I'm perfectly willing to accept my character is faster than Buck right now.
Well, if, all that's gonna do is slow down us doing this if we have to get it all the way to the capital. Real quick, Eulair does not know. Does he know about the portal? He was told about the portal from Halo, right?
I don't know,
Okay.
was he?
Zach is nodding his head yes.
Then
Okay.
yes.
Oh, but did Halo mention to not talk about it? Halo's all about being open, so
Yeah.
it comes out. Well, I mean, I guess we can send a runner through that portal, and it would speed up. But this is still going to delay us getting out there to send a request to get some kind of formal agreement written up.
Well,
Since
she
this is
said
outside
it needs
normal.
to be done within the 6th day. And as I plan to attend with you and I have matters that I need to see to today, we at least cannot move out till tomorrow. So if you want to write something up and send it over to me, I can make sure that it gets to the appropriate place.
Oh, hi,
Roll a
I'll meet
deception
with.
check.
Wait, what did you say?
Roll a deception check.
I'm being completely honest. Like,
Oh, I thought you were lying through your teeth.
no, I'm not planning on breaking. Why would I want to break this deal?
Nobody
Like,
trusts you. You're a bard.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I do have a +7 in deception too.
You can trust some bards. You don't have to distrust all bards.
Not all bards, right, Dan?
Not all bards.
But this one.
Maybe this one.
I mean, you can trust me on
Maybe.
some things. the
Why-
question
why
is
does
just
he
what
sound so
can you
echoey?
trust me on? What, me?
No, Dan sounds super echoey.
Do I sound echoey? The f-
He doesn't sound echoey to me.
Doesn't sound echoey to me.
Uh-oh.
I know what it is. I just fixed
Andy,
it.
why are you making people sound so
Thank
echoey?
you, Andy.
Why he's so echoey? I just read the chat. Sorry. Well played. Gain inspiration, Zach. Hilarious. But yeah, that's all well and good. From what I understand, the plan is that you two, with your contingent, are going to be heading to Nadrasi. I may have missed the part where you said anybody besides Halo? Did you say Halo is going?
No, I said if he wanted to, he could bring Leaf.
Leaf, that's the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I figured I'd keep it at least to approximately half of the party, so
Okay.
that we don't split up too much.
Your as you're kind of finishing this conversation, you notice that your attendant has been waiting patiently by the door and kind of steps forward, having been called to speak with you. Ulair, you dip out to go prepare, correct?
Yeah, I gotta go meet with the gang. I'll probably actually want to talk to Halo too to get some insight and
Okay.
wisdom onto how to.
The transaction we discussed earlier, Matt, happens now.
Secrety.
Mysterious.
Jesus.
Good deal.
I love it.
Unless you want to. Okay, you're not stopping it. All right. That said, I believe.
Wait, which one am I thinking of? Because there's a couple of things we talked. Right, that one. Yes. Okay, yeah, I'm moving ahead with that one. I'm not putting a specific date on that for right now. Just
No, I know. Just
you know,
right. Here, I'll type. People talk.
it's okay.
People talk besides us.
It's
I'll,
fine. I know.
Okay. If anybody has anything that they're doing in the morning, what are your plans, Cyril?
Cyril is busy in study like normal.
That was
He
boring.
doesn't have. I know. I'm sorry, but I don't have anything that I could do. It was boring.
Go talk to Leaf.
I thought Leaf is going with you.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to make something happen.
Okay. Well, come back to me then.
I would get ready in the morning and have one of my concubines start a bath,
Ugh,
and then I would get disguised,
that's way better than what I was thinking, Dan.
and I would try and send word to Leaf to meet me at and it would be to meet me at a local chess hall, and it would be signed an admirer. And I would try and get it to him today, if possible.
Okay. So Leaf, you would eventually receive a note in the morning, delivered by messenger, and the note is basically as Dan just described it.
Also, when Tim gets back, I forgot to mention one last thing to him before he left.
Okay.
So I'm gonna wait for him to have headphones back
Good
on.
point. Good point. All right, and then Leaf, you've got the note. Do you plan on acting upon it or no?
Yes, yeah, Leaf would probably, let's say he gets the note after his like breakfast type time period, and then he would probably plan on going over there. He's intrigued by, who, like signed an admirer, so that seems very intriguing to him. He'd be like wondering who this was.
Okay.
So I would head over if you want to do that now.
All right. Yeah. So you would arrive at the chess hall, and Dan, describe what you would look like, and you would obviously recognize Leaf as he enters in. But
You'd have a long beard, wrinkled skin, slightly pointy ears, perhaps a half elf. If you know of like chess dragon chess masters, you may have heard of him. He has gnarled fingers.
And he talks quite low.
oh shit.
He's sitting at a chessboard, and then as he sees you, his eyes come aglow with excitement.
This way, please.
He beckons you over.
Okay. I would walk over there and
Well-
bow and
Hold on, pregame.
Sure.
So Dan, as Alvin, go ahead and make a disguise kit check
Sure.
or a deception check, your choice.
Also, really quickly, while
Oh,
he's
no.
picking that,
Can I
while
use
he-
inspiration?
I will say yes, but I will also say that if Kevin wants to, he can spend his inspiration to cancel yours.
Cool.
oh man, I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, really quickly before things get too far, Tim, I also would have told your character before he left my room. He can talk about the mission. Do not mention that I am going.
I got it.
All right. And then I would like for Kevin to go ahead and roll me an insight check.
Okay, I will do that. Insight. I did not beat his deception, but I rolled a 20, which is not bad.
A natural 20?
No, a dirty 20, so dirty.
Okay.
That's an unnatural 20.
All right. So,
So unnatural.
yeah,
2 degrees of unnatural.
at the onset of the conversation, Kevin, everything seems in order, in the right. This individual just appears like a half elf with a magnificent old man beard. And yeah, Dan, you feel like the
Do
ruse-
you play chess, my friend? My artist, my muse.
Not exactly. I'm more of an artist as opposed to a strategist, if you will.
Ah, yes, of course. But you care of the people, right?
Yes, absolutely. I care of their entertainment and their to make sure the hearts are full with art and sounds and all that stuff.
I also value the people's useful happiness too. If you've noticed, we live in dark times. Have you seen these soldiers lining our
there,
street?
there aren't any soldiers yet.
No soldiers yet. Oh fuck. Well,
The
Let's-
rumors of soldiers.
Well,
Yeah.
John, I probably would have tried to get those notices up as soon as possible.
There are notices that talk about soldiers coming.
okay. Rewind.
Rewind, yeah.
Rumors of soldiers occupying our cities. It worries.
It worries me. Um,
Uh,
I worry for the safety of people. And
Uh,
you are quite wonderful at informing the public.
well, I always try to do my part, but I'm not sure what's going to happen, to our fair town in the upcoming weeks and months. I'm going to obviously try to do my best to help out, but I don't know what that will be.
Well, you are the heart of the people, right? Keep them happy.
Well, thank you for saying so. I mean, I like to think I am maybe the musical heart of the people for sure. Maybe not religious or political or those sort of things, but we're talking music for sure.
I think it would be a good time to inform the people of maybe their abilities to stand against resistance and occupation.
Well, that sounds like something that I can imagine the people of this town just doing on their own. I have even started to hear rumors of evacuations. I think that might be more in line with the skill in warfare of our population.
I just hope that they don't have heavy hearts, and I was hoping that perhaps you could write a sonnet for me, or a ballad, or something for the people, really.
He pushes forward a pouch that jingles a little bit.
Ooh, that is very generous. Of course, I could write a music special for you. Who would you like to be mentioned in the song, or I at least need to know your name so I know who is, my patron for this song.
Kareem.
Kareem?
It is a pouch full of copper.
With the pouch full. Oh man, it's sealed. He thinks it's gold. Of course, it's copper. Oh my
What
God.
is typical for your services?
It would not be that much. I mean, I basically don't have a job, but people give me gold for playing music and for teaching. Like I do a lot of lessons.
There'd
and that
be
sort of
there'd
thing.
be 10 gold coins in the pouch.
I mean, that would be plenty for a song for sure. Yeah, that would be plenty. But if it's funny, if it's a big pouch of copper, I open it up and it equals 10 gold pieces worth of copper.
Yeah, maybe
I think it's
that.
like 50 gold or whatever. But
You're like that guy that goes to the supermarket and pays the $100 bill in pennies, aren't you?
Kareem is.
I tipped a person at a bar real quick. I tipped a person at a bar the other day, and my wife said, "Well, how much do you tip her that much?" And she handed her a $5 bill. She's like, "We know that woman. We can't just tip her that much." I'm like, "I'm a bad tipper. What the hell? I was an accident." But anyways, so yeah, that'll be plenty. I would bow and then say, is that would you like to provide more information of what you want the song to entail, or are you able to allow my artistic expression to spring forth?
I wish for you to inspire the people and keep their heavy hearts light, but warn them of incoming danger. I would suppose. I don't know. Your ear for limerick is far beyond mine.
I can weave a beautiful and inspiring song. I can get right on it. I have nothing on my plate right now. I have no lessons, but I can start working on it immediately.
Thank you, Leaf.
How can I contact you if when I can let you know the song is done?
Oh, this chess hall. I typically peruse it frequently, or you could ask some of the regulars, or if they've seen cream, or...
Okay. That sounds excellent.
He kind of gazes off, distracted.
And then I would bow again, very deep, and then like very quickly, like snatch up the pouch
Gain it.
and be on my way.
John, are you enjoying the side chat?
Gain it. Matt, gain it. Sorry. So for those watching at home, there was a conversation that started in the midst of that dialogue where Zach warned Matt that Dan is going to turn Leaf into Lennon. And I said, I can't give Zach any more inspiration. Stop it. And then Matt replied, let him Trotsky. It's so good. Anyways, done. Moving right along. Go.
Nice.
I do have inspiration. Can I give it to Dan? Because I know he just used his.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So, wait. So you're funding?
His own fucking revolution.
I'm out.
Oh,
I don't
God.
understand. So, let's see.
Nice.
All right.
I would like to point out, Dan, there are literally signs already talking about the troops coming in and why they're coming in.
Yeah, but
posted around the town
what do the people
with
think?
my signature on them. I don't know what the people
Correct.
think, but I'm trying to tell them ahead of time what's going on and why it's happening.
And Dan is trying to win the court of public opinion.
It's good, but it's not inspiration good, Andy. It's good. Anyway. It's the horse has been beaten enough. That said, Ulair, you make your way to the temple. Halo, you are in the practice of morning ritual, which I presume early portion would be like you'd probably just be tailing off the like early morning meal breakfast as people start to kind of make their way to the fields to be taught in the glass blowing, etc. And you would see Ulair kind of approaching the temple proper.
I figured he'd be coming around as soon as this conversation was over.
Yep.
He has a tendency to do that.
Oh, and today I would have been exhibiting Summer, so I'm going. I would tan skin, blonde hair, hazel eyes.
Got it.
As opposed to what I've been Winter the past couple times. He's been on screen.
Yep.
So when I show up, I just sort of wait for you to finish, and I'm just like, they're like, obviously like flustered about something.
Yeah, I imagine I'm like wrapping up a conversation with another patron, and as they like leave, I sort of bow and I turn to you and I just smile.
Well, quick note: those conversations have mostly been about worry and concern regarding the individual who died not too long ago, about a week or so ago, and people are still kind of worried about that and seeking guidance. But it seems like most of the time you're able to kind of help them through their emotions and kind of help them kind of get past the worry. Like this person must have, like it's not something that's just happening to anyone. It seems like this person was special.
Right.
All right, move it back.
And I imagine all the signs about increased guard would actually have an effect of making people feel a little bit safer about this specific event because they're less likely.
Yeah, most
That's
people.
just how people respond to general boots on the ground.
I would say most people at the
Safer about
temple
that.
are receptive of the notice there and
Okay.
are not really taking into account what the notice regarding why they're coming. It's
Right.
more of a, we're in this current time of chaos. It's obviously about what we're caring about. There can't be other things in the world going on.
Yeah.
But there are some individuals who are also worried about the overarching part, but they haven't been too vocal about their conspiracy theories and concerns.
Not enough tangible evidence yet to be worried vocally.
Anyways, Summer Ulair.
So I approach and Halo, do we got somewhere we can maybe be far from ears? Some of this is not supposed to get out, I guess.
Perfect
Oh.
person to tell.
Gotta love Our Lady. And I'll sort of guide you to a private room, like away from everyone.
All right. She's asking me to go do some diplomatic mission. That's not what the guild's about. The guild's about simply fighting monsters, keeping people safe from the wilds. Now we gotta do matters of state. Me to go, no less. I'm gonna botch the whole thing up.
May I? And I go to calm your emotions.
Please.
So yeah, you get calmed, centered again. Better?
Thanks.
Now take a moment and think of what your lady has asked you. Is this not something to be seen as a badge of honor? She has so much faith in the guild. Look at where the guild would have been 2-3 decades ago. She would have never trusted anyone from that area to go lead a mission like this. You should be proud of this moment. You should really take a moment and consider the ramifications of her trusting you with this, especially to go alone. This seems like the kind of thing she would want to do herself, personally. But
What are you talking about?
personally,
Alright, can we please do an opposed deception insight? Because I feel like that
Yep.
would like have something like tick out, and I'd be trying to keep it under wraps, but
Yep, yeah, I'm absolutely okay with that. Insight check from Halo and deception check from Ulair.
I got a 1.
Yeah, his reaction to your baiting lead was very just. Yeah, she's going. Yeah, she's going. Like,
Oh, what are you talking about?
Ulair doesn't have to say anything. You saying the statement that you said and it being so pointed was like just kind of, digging a blade into something very soft and very exploitable to blades.
So the way it would flow is, that seems like the kind of thing that she would want to do herself. Oh, of course. Well, no need to say it. I know how the lady likes to keep to herself. We can pretend as if you didn't. So, did she have a plan? Does she know what she wants to discuss? Are you going to be offering anything? Please, I'd love to hear details.
By the island.
Muted.
Or at least your mic was out of range.
Yeah, I heard nothing there on the last sentence. Sorry, Tim.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, better.
Alright. Basically, she wants us to occupy the island.
Ooh, so you're bringing a force to occupy the island?
I
Okay,
mean,
so I'd like this to go whisper down the lane here.
well, see, I mean, it's I guess supposed to be a diplomatic mission of sorts at first, and then it seems like I can only imagine they're going to bring down the hammer if they don't agree, and I don't see them agreeing. They're
Well,
already on edge
let's-
themselves.
take a step back, my friend. Let's go one step at a time. If we go into a negotiation, assuming the negotiation will fail, you've already lost the negotiation, no?
Well, if I have to do any of the talking, it probably will. Especially if I run into who know who.
From the looks, I would say you should be okay. For all of
Hopefully.
the many feelings and thoughts I have on Our Lady, she does have a way with words, and that you must agree with, no?
When she uses them.
He stops for a second and starts thinking back to the times he's been torn asunder and conversations are like brought into a puddle by the dialogue. When she uses them, yeah.
But
So your job is to do as you have done many a time before. It's to keep someone safe while you travel into the island.
that's a good way to center it,
And
to view it.
you're not a child anymore, my friend. You have responsibilities. These things are going to come, and they're going to keep coming.
Ugh.
This is what being a leader is.
I didn't want to be one. I got it foisted on me.
Most leaders don't. They aren't. The good ones, I should say, aren't the ones who want to be leaders. The best leaders are the ones that are chosen by those underneath them and those around them. She's choosing to lift you up and take her with you. She didn't ask me. She didn't ask Cyril. She didn't ask the guard. She asked you.
Yes, you're right.
And the only way you're going to get better at these things is to do them. And she's a good one to learn from.
I guess with this though, is there? I guess one concern is how can we turn this to advantage for the guild? Because I know due to my father's misdeeds, we've kind of had a shite reputation for a bit now. We're slowly trying to claw our way back. But what kind of concessions do you think I might be able to ask for? That's not presumptuous, but somehow allows to make it known that the guild is to be trusted. Oh, and mind you, this is apparently going to be going straight to Lady Aristotle.
Oh, you've gotten approval to send a notice to the capital?
More like our ladyship is letting her make the decision, not herself. So that adds a bit more extra pressure of trying to get any kind of concession.
You see, like, the fucking wheels in Halo's head are like, she doesn't, but she has control over everything else. Why would she? Oh, it's because she doesn't want to say, oh, I'm putting 2 and 2 together. I can't have him see that. Okay, all right. That's,
Make it
Okay.
So in the,
yeah, you
in
want to
the-
flip it?
in the same train? Flip it. Yeah, deception from Balo and insight from.
26.
Oh, I don't know if I can beat that unless I crit it. Real
Even
question.
with
You-
critting it.
you-
Mm-mm.
Okay, good. Then I'm not gonna waste.
Yes. So when it comes to skill checks that are against an opposition, it's result, not dice roll. But yeah, as you two are again, is that a good stopping point so I can switch gears or?
Yeah, I think I've said what I needed to say, and I think we're good,
Tim.
Tim. You get my point, unless
The
you
on-
have anything else to ask.
The only thing I think you're missing is a possible invitation for Halo to go with you, but that's up to you.
The only thing is that if Halo had any it was like asking a question of like what concessions could I ask for, and then I added on like this is going to Lady Aristotle, and then it's just like the gear's running, but it's totally under wraps.
Yeah.
And so I'm kinda like,
So the last piece, the only thing I would say is, if you could get a notice of our guild in the capital, a call to more adventurers, boosting recruitment, boosting numbers. That's all. Just the opportunity to post something in the capital, open for an open invitation to get more warriors down here. You don't know who's going to show up. You're not asking for money. You're not asking for resources. You are getting your guild's name out into the capital and out into the people. Just, we're looking for more monster hunters. We're looking for more to join. This is the town. This is the place. That's the suggestion that Halo would give you in a much longer, more in-depth sort of conversational way.
and like as you're saying that, like yeah, like he's like, yeah, that's. I think that might.
That
I
work?
think we can work on the wording with that to make that work. I mean,
I
I wasn't
thought you-
technically given leave to invite, but you would be a wonderful calming presence, at least for my nerves, if you came with us.
I believe the lady would have invited me if she wanted me there now.
Yeah, I know. It
So
was
be
worth
it.
a shot, though.
But she did give you leave to assemble
Yeah.
your hunters as you
Right.
pleased.
Yeah, I did say you could invite or trusted friends.
Oh yeah, I worked that. I turn it around and well, she did. This is specifically how she worded it. I see you as a trusted friend, almost a parental figure of sorts at times. I mean, if we stretch the wording a bit, I'm sure you'd fall under that.
I appreciate the sentiment. And when do you plan to set off?
I don't think any concrete, but it's within the 6th day.
And it's a day trip?
It's hopefully that's all it is.
You know where to find me?
I'll let you know when we leave. Oh, one last thing.
Hmm?
You would agree that Leaf might be good to bring along, right?
That man always puts a smile on my face, that's for sure.
I was thinking he might be good to help, maybe cut through any tensions that might be present between us and the
Absolutely.
Nadrasi.
Or at the very least, to distract some of the court. You know? The man does know how to draw some eyes.
That he does. That he does. Thank you for your time, Halo. You always know how to put my mind right.
So,
Go in peace, stay in the light.
snapping back to the chess hall, after your dialogue concludes and Leaf is kind of, like thinking in his head, preparing to stand up and get up, Leaf, you notice and recognize an individual kind of walking into the chess hall, kind of looking around kind of nervously, and then he kind of sees you, and you kind of have been looking at him. It's Fenfir from the Monster Hunter Guild, and he kind of heads on over to you. I guess it's pretty great that you're such a known face, and everybody knows your name. Hey, he looks over at the old man,
Yeah. Hello.
then looks back to you and says, am I interrupting?
No, continue.
Oh.
Okay.
What?
The old man, distracted, moves chess pieces on the board by himself.
Are you trying to
Seemingly
look
paying no
distracted
attention.
and pay attention?
I mean, he is distracted by the chessboard.
But are you trying to pay attention?
I'm always observed.
Go ahead and make me a deception check, because Fenfir would maybe notice that you're dropping eaves.
I mean, they're talking right in front of me.
Oh,
right?
if he may pull Leaf away, is what I'm saying. All right. So 13 is what you got, and he looks to Leaf and he says, "Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Ulair sent me to find you. He wanted me to bring you, I guess, back to the guild. I don't think they're setting off anytime soon. He wanted to talk to you about a very important mission that the lady is interested in setting on with."
You gotta fucking fire that guy, too.
I'll be like,
No, well, hold on. The only person in earshot right now is Leaf, and not really this old guy who doesn't look like he's paying attention.
right, he's dropping some eaves.
And I have kind
Fen-
of set the precedent that I tell them everything.
And Fenfir
I
doesn't.
mean, he
Fenfir
has
doesn't.
set that precedent.
Fenfir doesn't know that guy's, listening. He thinks he's having a quiet conversation with Leaf right now.
This is so good.
He also doesn't know that that guy reads lips, apparently.
He also reads lips.
I would say, okay, thank you very much. I will be there very shortly,
Okay.
and that's about it.
Okay.
And then I would, turn real quick, because I'm imagining he's a little ways off and can't hear us or whatever, and I would look over at Kareem and be, again, I will see you, my friend. I am already thinking of the great song in my mind, and I will be working on it.
How far away are you? Like
I would
across
say-
the hall?
Maybe 10
No, I would
feet.
say we're like a couple feet. How many feet?
10
Can't
feet.
hear you.
Yeah.
Can't hear you.
I would
You
like
just-
say that and like hope that
He's
you could
still
hear
playing
me.
with the board.
And then I
No.
would say, okay, I'm not gonna go repeat that, and I would just take off.
All right. Fenfir seems to kind of go with you a ways. If you're heading back to the guild, then he'll probably go the same path as you and walk alongside you as well. Yeah. Cyril, was there anything in specific in your studies that you wanted to focus in on this morning, or is there anything that you wanted to do outside of studies this morning, just to make sure you have a table? You'd also know that there is a meeting to be had by Lady Elcontra that you'd be aware of regarding town safety in the upcoming days.
Yeah, I definitely would want to go to that meeting.
Probably scheduled for the day today. What time was that set up, Matt?
I mean, I would have sent people out to the particular parties like
Right.
as soon as I could in the morning.
Well, what time would the meeting be?
Oh, what time would the meeting be?
Noon? Early morning? Or late morning?
Probably, no, I probably, just so that people have time, set it up for like late afternoon, early evening,
Okay.
just so that like particularly since some of the people I know are like the three kings, and I want to make sure that
They each get their
they
invitations
have
as well
they
and have
get their
time.
invitation and have time to make sure that things are in order, or that they can take care of whatever business they have, whether it be anything like, making sure that they have supplies or conspiring against the government.
Sure, yeah. But Dan, you would receive your notice while you were out. So when you return back, you will have your notice. Leaf, I assume you would have had your message in hand.
Who's conspiring against the government?
Silence. It was a joke. It was obviously not meant to be taken seriously. Stop.
I'm just curious.
Dork. Stop starting real fights. I don't like. And
That wasn't a real fight.
stop it, Halo. You would have gotten your missive probably before Ulair, so came over. So you would have that at hand and know that you are expected. And Cyril, the same is true for you. But back to Cyril. Is there anything you want to do before the meeting?
Yes, actually, Cyril would take his longsword out of side, and he would head towards the guild, Monster Hunters Guild Hall. He's looking for some sparring.
Okay. So you arrive.
You didn't think you could get that from the ferry at the temple?
Sparring?
I would pay to see that spar.
You would arrive at the temple as Fanfare returns. Were you heading to not the temple? Not the temple. You tricked me, Zach. The guild. You go to the guild hall. Leaf, would you arrive at the same time as Fanfare and apparently as Cyril?
And so Fenfir's there, but not Ulair, right?
Ulair's not. They're just now. They're kind of walking up to the door as you're walking up to the door. You kind of see them crossing towards it in a different path than you.
So Cyril would walk up to Leaf and Fenfir and say, "I'm looking for some sparring. Is there a place I could do that here?" Because he's never done it before.
No, we don't really focus on fighting people. You might want to go to the militia hall. Kind of looks at you confused, and then looks to Leaf.
Oh, really? That's okay. That's a thing.
Monster hunters, not
Hunters.
fencers. We don't fight with swords like you fight with swords.
Would Leaf know anything about, since he has like an arcane background, would he know anything about sparring with somebody who's like a beginner or like a, introductory type?
Are you proficient with longswords?
Oh, I thought he wanted to spar with a, actually I probably would be, but I don't.
You're an elf, right?
I think I am because I'm an elf, but I do have a rapier that I always, I have on when I'm
And are you
training,
proficient
but I
with
don't
it?
actually use it. Yeah, I'm proficient with it.
Then you know how to use it. You're not a master.
So Cyril would say, actually, Leaf, yeah, maybe you're the best person. You were there that night. You were the one that killed that creature. And he's sort of rubbing his arm where he was hurt. I want another way to protect myself.
Ah, that's very wise. I have I will spar with my rapier, and you must use a practice sword, so chop or stab me, That's no
Okay.
good.
Yes,
But,
yes.
If you use a wooden one, maybe we could. I don't have one on me anymore, but I'm sure we could pick one up somewhere. And then we could spar. Actually, I think I could trust myself not to stab you with my rapier, but I'm not trusting you not to stab me with the long sword. so that we could do that.
Well, I am proficient with it, right? So, but yeah,
Right.
I just don't have much practice.
All right, we could start doing that then.
Okay. If you two want to go find an alleyway to go beat each other up with steel, that's fine. We'll deal with that in a bit. Fenfir kind of walks into the Monster Hunters Guild, watching Leaf walk away, and goes, "Wait." And heads off.
Love the timing of that.
Heads off after you two. Ulair, after the temple, you return back to the guild?
Yeah.
Okay. After receiving the missive, and presuming that other parties were included on the missive, Alvin, what are you doing for the day?
I mean, so to not be conspicuous, I would stay in the hall and play maybe a match or two, but try and get through them as quickly as possible.
Well, I mean, after you leave the hall and then come to.
Okay.
We're done with that.
I would return.
You received a
my
note
home.
that says that you're expected to meet with Alcantara and other town leaders to discuss town safety in the upcoming events.
Sure. How much time do I have left in the day before I
Probably a good
arrive promptly?
4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
Oh, also, I would, think
Go
that
ahead.
Ayla would get one of those messages too.
Yeah, I said that he received it before Olaire showed up.
Oh, okay,
No.
gotcha.
I also want to try and figure out more about this scouting. I guess I don't know. This was it the what'd you call it? They were found like north scouting the land or something. You told me last session. I can't remember. I didn't
Yeah.
take notes on.
Yeah, notes are important. Alterian scout
Alteria.
ships.
Alterians. Okay.
Yeah, they are though basically parked up north on the northern portion of the isle.
What all do I know about? Here, I got his information. Maddox Corbin. When will he be back in town?
If I remember correctly, he left a while ago and is currently not set back report for at least 2 to 3 6 days.
Okay. And how would I send word to port that he frequent? I mean, he does go to.
He's on a boat, so
Yeah, but how would I get a message
if
to
you're-
Alteria for when he arrives there?
If you're chasing him with a letter, it's going to have to go by boat.
I was wondering if means of magic.
No, you don't have any magical means at your
Yeah.
disposal.
Okay. Yeah, I would
Unless-
just see if I could
unless
find anything.
You
I
know,
mean,
a
I literally just
7th level spellcaster.
no.
Yeah. Your
Okay,
town's most influential mage is level what? 1? Level 2.
Oh, wow. Fuck. Nice. He needs to spar some more.
Get him up to useful.
Yeah. Okay.
Look at it. He's so mad. If that's
I
the
get
case,
no respect, I tell you,
if-
no
if-
respect at all.
if that's the case, if you're just basically preparing and
It's okay, Rob.
not doing anything
You're
in
fine.
particular, that's fine. We'll move to the spar in the alleyway. So Fenfear kind of looks to Leaf as he's kind of, loosening his shoulders and getting ready to teach the lesson. And again, however you're going to do that, you can do that. Kevin, I'll give you that free rein. But he says, Master Leaf, Olaire will be back any moment. Is this going to take long?
Well, I don't think it will take too long. A lot of time a novice will tire out quickly. So
As he's I'm assuming as he's
Oh
saying
my
that,
gosh,
he's like slowly
no
drawing the
respect.
sword and like doing a quick woo woo.
yeah,
So
I really like
French.
spar a little bit. I want him to get some good sparring in. That's how somebody gets better, right?
Absolutely. So,
I want to do that.
he draws the weapon and kind of holds it at the ready. Cyril, what is your response to this?
What is that? I mean,
Are you drawing your sword and like preparing
yeah,
to
absolutely,
fight?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Stab him through the heart.
Cool. Go ahead and roll initiative. There's no tracker. Just
Now, this
see who
is the
goes
way
first.
I would like it to go. Like, Leaf doesn't want to embarrass him or humiliate him. I want him to try attacking me and do different things, and then I would make comments if he leaves himself open, and I would say I may tap him on the shoulder and be like, you cannot leave yourself open. That's how you lose your nose. It's a funny tale.
Fair.
That sort of thing. So that's what I want to do.
So go ahead and roll initiative.
I did.
Not you.
All right, I will do that.
The tale of Sir Michael Jackson and the replacement
Yes.
nose.
A big explosion happened, and he had his hair are oiled, and
I'm out.
Horrible.
Just roll your initiative.
Oh no!
Click the initiative button, Kevin.
I got
Okay.
it. There we go.
So you're going faster than the apprentice in this regard. Do you wish to do anything with your first turn to basically better prepare yourself for an oncoming attack?
I think if we're gonna start to spar, and I see that he's all ready, I might give him a little tap on the foot or something, and be like, just to make sure he's paying attention.
So you want to start with an aggressive to kind of put him on the back foot. Go ahead and make an attack roll.
All right, this is not a damaging attack. All right, a rapier attack. Oh my gosh,
Mhm.
I never thought I'd actually
And-
use my rapier.
Keep in mind, it's definitely not a damaging attack because hit points aren't
Right.
damage.
Right.
So you can
23.
knock all of his hit points down, and you're not killing him. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, keep that in mind.
Okay.
Vitality
I hit
rules.
23.
All right, 23 hits. I'm pretty sure, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right. And with that said, go ahead and roll damage.
All right.
You
Damage.
have to use a wooden stick, but I'm gonna stab you in the foot.
All right. And again, remember, being stabbed in the foot equals vitality spray. That's not what this is. So as he comes in with the blade and kind of stabs at you, Cyril, you kind of back away, and he kind of comes out with the like small edge of the rapier upwards, and to kind of get it kind of blocked, you kind of push your boot off to the side, and you feel it kind of pierce the leather and kind of push inwards a bit, and you have this like weird moment where it's kind of like, oh, it's gonna go in, but you feel him just kind of push your foot back and cause you to kind of as you kind of draw back, and then he's back up with the rapier and looking like he's raring to go. What would you like to do in response?
I would like to swing my longsword.
Fireball.
Yeah.
Fireball, right? I wish.
Level 5.
Nice. That will
Brings
hit.
it in, swings at you, and basically a similar blow. As you kind of catch the blade with the rapier, you feel the weight of it kind of shirk down into your shoulders and your elbows, at Leaf, and you kind of feel like, oh, that was not a bad hit, and so you kind of and then push the blade back and away. Your hand's kind of shaking a bit from the blow. All right, and then your response.
Okay. All right. I guess I would try to like attack him with something that isn't a typical attack that you would expect. That way he will.
Shove.
No, I was thinking maybe something like normally somebody might like with a rapier go for the face or whatever, and try to stab them. But I'm like, I just want to maybe whack him on the ear or whatever, just to
Okay, so
show
it's
him
still
that he needs to be prepared for that.
it's still a normal type of attack. You're not trying
Yeah.
to kind of elicit a different type of reaction. Okay.
Right.
So
I'm gonna
then,
use portent.
so what's the roll he gets? Did you roll your two
Two.
dice?
2. I
and
rolled
11
it
2 and
up
11.
in the beginning of the. Yep, a 2 and a 14 I rolled, so I'm gonna use a
Okay.
2.
You're giving me a 2.
So
Yep.
as you're kind of bringing the weapon in, you see Cyril kind of move away from and kind of slaps the air instead of his face. He kind of almost as if he'd seen it coming. And as you kind of recoil with the blade, you're kind of like, huh. All right, response.
So broken.
It's really fun.
Yeah. Lucky's pretty bad too.
Does 16 hit the leaf?
16 I believe does beat my AC. Yeah, my AC is 15.
Okay. With kind of a sweep and kind of a pullback with the longsword after dodging, he comes up with the blade. You just barely manage to kind of catch it with the sword guard, and you feel yourself kind of lifted off the ground a little bit by this mage's like ferocity. And as you're kind of pushed back, you can kind of feel like the blade kind of pushing towards you. You think it might have torn a little bit of your long coat too, and you kind of push him back and away as you come back into a defensive stance. He definitely shows promise at this point.
So then Cyril would put the sword back in his sheath.
Well, he
and
hasn't
would
given.
bow.
Oh, smack him in the face with that rapier right now. Smack him in the face. Do it. Hit him in the face.
No, I will not do that. I will
Copy.
be like, you do have some promise. Keep practicing and always protect yourself. Do not lunge without thinking of your protection. And,
Fenpir,
see, you have tricks. Tricks are good for when you when it really matters.
Fenpir
Doesn't
kind of
sound
shakes
French
his
at all,
head.
But anyways,
Fenpir shakes his head and says, "Fighting humans or fighting other elves is stupid. Come on, he's probably back by now." And Lair, as you're moving on the guild, you see Fenfir, Leaf, and Cyril all coming, kind of spilling out of the alleyway nearby, and heading towards the door. You see Fenfir kind of, I found him.
What kind of party were you having out in the back alley?
Oh, it's just, and just seems to not talk anymore, looking to the other two waiting.
No, we were just having a little practice for Cyril. He shows a lot of promise as a swords master. So, you know.
Swordmaster, eh? That's quite the compliment, coming from a bard.
Well, that's true. I have seen a lot of swords.
Aye.
Swordsmen.
Well, it'll be I look forward to the day I might be able to see you display your skills, Cyril.
Fanfare kind of walks over to you and says,
Perhaps, Alaire.
"They weren't that good. Neither of them." Neither of them.
I know. I'm just trying to be nice. So, Cyril, did you have any business at the guild as well?
I did not.
All right. Well,
Apparently.
if you don't mind, I need to have a word with Leif.
Oh, very good. Until we meet again, Leif.
Yes.
And
Keep
next,
practicing.
and I look forward to my next
Learn
lesson
to
with
take
you.
a hint.
Yeah.
I look forward to my next lesson with you, Cyril.
Okay.
Fanfare ditch that's too much activity.
So, Leif, if you don't mind, coming up to my office, I have something you might like to hear, and something I'd like to pick your brain on too.
Absolutely. It has been a very interesting day. You would not even imagine. But yes, I will follow you.
Tell me as we walk. And as we enter the guild, I was like, Fanfare, can you just find where Badgel might be holding up in here? Meet me in the office.
You see Fanfare like opening the door and like moving into his normal hideout, like, you know, this back room, and he kind of looks over his shoulder like, yeah, and then you hear, huh? What do you need?
Badgel, I have need of your services.
And he looks up at Fanfare as he gets up and walks towards him and says, "Are you trying to take my secret spot?" And Fanfare says, "Your secret spot? This is my secret spot." And they swap. Fanfare goes in, and Badgel comes out. I'm on my way up. He looks like he's going for some papers.
So we just head up to my office, and feel free to input any kind of parts of your day that you wanted to fill me in on.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be that exciting. So we'll just say I went over, what's happened so far, and
Yeah.
I don't get commissions for songs all the time.
It's not that exciting. I just met with like a chess master and then had a duel with the wizard of the town in a back alley. I mean, literal stories are like, about.
Right.
It wasn't that exciting. I was just having.
I would kill for an anecdote like that today.
Right.
What'd you do today? I got up,
So,
went to the living room.
Olaire, on the opposite side, my boss told me I had to do something outside of my comfort zone, and I went to my spiritual guide and leader, and
Yeah.
probably said too much. Exciting.
This has been a great day for us all, guys.
Ulaire, our Quotas, my friend. I am thinking of a song, and I could sing it for you real quick. At least the lyrical part. I won't play all the music, but I do obviously have my, my lute with me. But do you want to hear a little bit of it?
Down with the bourgeoisie.
Yeah, that's basically what it was.
In walks, like, even before you start to sing, in walks Badgel and kind of sets some papers down on the table and looks at you all. Do you want me to stay
Badgel.
or?
No, yes.
Oh, okay.
Master Leaf is, before we begin, Master Leaf's gonna serenade us with a new song he is writing.
I would just like go,
Splendid.
I'd do a couple little chords on my lute, but the music's not finished yet. But I'd be like, awaken, people of Sasayuri Yanye, stand up, look out, and rally under the lady. No matter what, we will persevere. Do not give up, my dears. Rumors of battle and invaders are a troubling. Together we stand strong and humble them. No, together we will stand strong and humble them. Something like that. This is what I'm working on. It's just a rough draft.
Badgel kind of
What do
looks
you
to you
guys
and
think?
says, "Yeah, sounds good."
A promising start. A promising start, Leaf.
It's a song I'm thinking of playing.
It's
tonight
great.
to get
It's
the people-
amazing.
Get the people rallied. You know, I will obviously put my normal flair and dancing and dance moves and all that, so that the people will just love it.
Oh yeah, that sounds great.
Funny you talk about rallying about invaders and whatnot, but I have a proposition for you.
Please elaborate.
Well, if you wouldn't mind helping me compile sort of a help wanted advertisement of sorts that'll be sent to the capital to be approved by Lady Aristotle. I think I might be able to score a ticket with a fun little adventure over to the Nadrasi Isle.
Yes, I could definitely do that.
It'd be official state business.
Right, right. Well, you know, there is a lot of prestige in that, so it may be hard to resist. I will definitely help you. I may have to burn the midnight oil tonight, because if we are going to be leaving, I'm going to need to finish this song. And because this was a song that I was, my patron has, paid me to write the song.
Well, right now I was wondering if we could just maybe workshop it real quick. Badgel will write it up for us, and he'd give his input as well as far as for how we can make this not too imposing on Lady Aristotle. And I figured you'd be the best person to ask since you know her so well.
Ooh.
And you have such a gift for words that you might help us have the most enticing advertisement as we could out in Capital to bring people here.
If you're planning on using metrics and understanding of what we're talking about, Ulair, I've made sure to ready these documents here. It tells a little bit about the guild and how we've had a strong upswing ever since the time where, well, you know the story.
Yeah. Well, Leif, would you mind taking a look at it to see if you can zest it up a bit?
Oh, definitely.
Badgel, and I just want to, you great work, but he's a flair for dramatic that, you know.
Oh no, numbers are boring as heck. I get
But
it.
you're very good at them, and I'm not.
Yeah,
And I thank you every day for that.
if he can make people like pay attention to what I'm trying to say here in paper, then so much the better. I'm not humbled, or I'm not arrogant enough to think that it doesn't need a little bit of jazz hands or whatever.
Don't worry, Kothas. I can feel myself being inspired to write almost a love note. And I think, based on my past meetings with the lady, I know how to get to her heart. So let me write it. Like, for instance, I can tell you some things about her. She loves the beautiful music that I can make, but she also is a very straightforward person, and she is not going to want a lot of flowery words. She's going to want us to get straight to the point. But at the same time, she will appreciate my beautiful handwriting, and also she will appreciate, if I maybe throw in a few lyrics that she will recognize from historical elven songs and, love songs, of course. And then if I sign this note in my own hand, and if I
Badgel starts yawning.
So, do you think that would serve better as the cover letter for? Because I want to think that the flyer itself that we'd want to post around would be for the people themselves to draw new hunters to our area, to our guild, and maybe you could also then help write a beautiful cover letter to help convince Lady Aristotle that this would be a good idea, especially since, in not so of a presumptuous way, we're helping her out.
Right. I like it. I think we can make this work. I will begin on it immediately, and I will start writing like the short, love letter type note, basically being straightforward, everything I was talking about, and then also something more for the people to get them riled up too.
Sure.
Maybe more like a more like a Bruce Springsteen type thing for the people.
Public Enemy, fight the power.
Be more like Alexander Hamilton for her, something a little bit more eloquent, but still short. I don't want to write it 3,000 pages.
If you're going in Gala and fuck the police.
Right.
Let me make it dope. So anyways,
Rage Against the Machine.
Rage Against the Machine, yeah.
Killing in the name
Name
of.
of some of those liberal forces on the state of
I
crosses.
have not heard that
Okay, I
song.
would demonetize her
Do what they
probably,
told
whatever,
ya.
however that works. So,
Great.
anybody have anything to do in the afternoon portion before team meeting?
Oh my god, dude.
What?
We're all logged into Zoom for a fucking team meeting in an hour. Let's do it.
Dude, it feels like work.
It sounds like work. on my screen, Matt's right beneath me on my Zoom meeting, so it looks like Hollywood Squares, and he's flipping over.
Perfect.
And then Dan's just next to nobody. Aww. I imagine it's two cool kids.
The Dan stands alone.
I'm okay with that.
Fair. But nobody has anything, so we're gonna fast track it to Eventide. You arrive, if you're going to the keep to meet with the lady at her request, you arrive in no distinct order, but eventually kind of all muster in the throne room, where there's currently no one of presence. I would assume that you would wait until they kind of muster before you bring yourself to them and take them to where...
No, I mean,
Do
I
you-
probably would have.
Go ahead.
I imagine that there would be somewhere there like that has like a. Oh gosh, the only reference I can think right now is
Like
the
a
magic
meeting room, like a
from-
like a table,
Yeah.
right? I assume
the
that's where
magic
you're.
meeting room from the Voyager, basically.
That's where you're gonna take them. But basically, they're all mustering in the throne room, and then they'll be dragged to where you want them. Is what I'm assuming.
Yeah. And if I hadn't mentioned already, I would have wanted to grab Cyril for this too. I can't remember if I mentioned.
Yeah.
But it would have been.
Cyril got the note. I mentioned it, I think,
Okay,
at some
yeah.
point.
Yeah, Cyril, Halo.
It's everybody.
Character whose name
It's
I'm
everybody who's
forgetting.
present. Yeah, and the other two kings, and then
Yeah.
the only NPCs here are going to be the other two kings and the captain of the watch. Accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought the mayor was coming.
He is one of the NPCs.
He's one of the kings.
Three
Got it.
kings.
Oh, okay. Right.
All right.
I forgot.
So you would all muster, and punctuality-wise, the very first party who arrives would actually be the mayor of the town. So everyone else would be arriving after him, because he arrives 30 minutes early. If you arrive after him, you would note that he is a young, possibly old, not 100% sure on age because elf. And he is wearing very simple attire, nothing too regal, nothing too informal rather. It looks like he's dressed perfectly for the occasion. A power suit, if you will. And he awaits. You would all arrive in whatever order. And then the last person to arrive after all of you would be the other of the kings. The captain of the guard would arrive as well in your grouping. But the last person who arrives, the very last person, would be a dwarf. Dressed in finery, wearing two bronze gloves, gauntlets rather, a gray cloak, his beard kind of done up a little bit with braids, and just kind of very mercantile looking, very merchant wealth attire. Dan, do you come incognito? How are you dressed for this?
No. If Alvin was invited, he'd arrive
As an
in
old
his
man,
normal attire.
ready for chess.
I mean, traveling through the streets, he might have like a cloak and stuff and be kind of hid away. But when he got closer to the estate, he would slowly, take off his.
You could also take a carriage.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, he would just be in, full regalia, or not regalia, but he looked
Finery.
like Alvin. Yeah, finery.
Okay. So, after you all arrive, the attendant enters in, who you recall being named Naxi. She looks like she's wearing much finer clothes than she has been seen wearing in the past. But she kind of moves in to approach you, and she gestures for you all to enter in. Real quick, though, I would like for Cyril and Halo to make perception checks.
Oh boy. Oof, not good. 9.
19.
Halo, you kind of feel like the clothes that she's wearing are way outside of her station. Perhaps she's been granted a higher duty than her normal, course or fare. But this doesn't strike you as odd, especially since she's currently taking you all in to meet with the lady at this time.
Okay.
All right. You are led into the chess room. There is a long table, and I'm assuming you're sitting at the head of it.
I'd probably be standing while people entered.
Okay, but standing behind your chair.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there assigned seating?
I mean, if there is, I'd imagine I'd want like 0 Halo either side of me, and then the others. Like, I don't imagine there'd be extremely assigned seating.
Okay, so Cyril
That's
on
the only thing I can think of.
Cyril on your left and Halo on your right.
Flip.
Okay. And then everyone else kind of sits inwards. I would
I'm next to Balthar.
I would presume Balthar would sit next to Halo.
Then I would sit aside Balthar.
Okay. And then Aramis, the mayor, would sit one down from Cyril. And sitting next to Cyril would be the captain of the guard.
It's a weird question, but what are their like spiritualities? How often are they at the temple? What's my like relationship with them? Quick.
Aramis is known to keep a shrine to the nature goddess, Kshathia, on his own property. And Balthar worships the Duerison and is a strict adherent to the Dwarven gods, so he does not go to the shrine at all. But the Aramis will, on occasion, go to the temple and offer people who are present there work when people in the fields that actually bring in the money, or the mines that bring in the real money for the city, or the town rather, they have job openings. He'll basically come there first. He does that versus putting out notices, because these people are hungry for the work and better than
They have
them.
the experience.
And they have the experience, yeah. But Naxi, after basically bringing you all in, looks to Lady Alcontra for her leave.
Yeah, it's sort of, like nod or
Okay.
gesture, whatever.
She shuts the door. The only other person in this room besides you all is Soleil, which is the scribe, who appears to be basically taking dictation and kind of keeping notes, minutes, if you will, on the meeting here.
So, I don't know necessarily what rumors may or may not have gotten to you, but it seems as though tensions may be rising right now with the Adamant Isle. It seems as though Lady Aristotle's visit was basically them saying that they are planning to shut down the bridge on their end and try to take the Nadrasi Isle. Right now we have been handed the basic order of we may have to prepare for war, and we will have to send out a delegate to speak to those on the Nadrasi Island. I've already spoken with someone about that, someone that Lady Arisnodal had picked out herself specifically. Right now, I think the main reason I'm calling this is just to make sure that we have a plan for our people. I've already talked with Halo a little bit about this, and what we decided might be a good idea is preparing to fall back to the John, what is the town that's in ruins?
Doesn't have a name. You can call it whatever you want.
Anyone have any suggestions for names for that place, or I might just call it the ruins for the time being? I'm going to just go
Yeah,
with
the ruins are good.
with the ruins of the unnamed town. He
If-
said that.
If you want one, I can force it. Iskar Yanwi.
Okay, Iskar Yanwi. The ruins of Iskar Yanwi. Halo said that he was planning on sending some builders that way, if I remember correctly, Halo.
I've not had a chance to speak with my team yet. I thought it prudent when I got the message this morning to wait until after this meeting so we could discuss it as a unit here. Once we have decided if that's a good plan, I'd be happy to put together a team of some of my most trusted. Obviously, it'll be difficult, but there's a way we could do it. Yes.
Yes. I don't consider this necessarily a long-term solution. I think for at least getting our people out of immediate danger, this would be at least a good start of a plan. So what I figured we could do here is discuss the merits of that, and then also possibly formulate a more long-term and permanent plan, as I sincerely doubt that we could necessarily rebuild that town in the time that we may or may not have.
So we mean to abandon the ports?
Only if forced.
Balthar, kind of to your side, kind of says, I agree with my young compatriot's sentiment. Forfeiting what has been gained over decades is not exactly something I think your father would be too proud of. I understand that you're not terribly familiar with dwarven posturing, but I highly doubt that they'll cross the bridge, especially since their histories tell of the times where your ancestors bested their ancestors right here in this very land.
Yes, well, as I would say, this is a plan for keeping the people safe. I said nothing of necessarily troops out from the city or abandoning the city altogether, just making sure that those who are unable to defend themselves have some place that they can fall back to.
Apologies.
So that they're out of harm's way.
Your planning is absolutely understood and formal. I just want to make sure that you understand in my heart of hearts, I do not believe that the opposition is a battle-ready, hardened force as you imagine it to be. I think it's a bunch of bull-headed nobles, young and stupid, filled with heaven knows what, prepared to do something drastic and stupid, leading people who do not want to be in this conflict at all into stupidity. I would say that you have more to fear from the north than you do from the bridge.
The Alterians.
Are you aware of their presence? You see Aramis kind of look to Balthar with kind of an angry look, and he says, "Lose it." And Balthar kind of goes, "Apologies. Milady, I should have brought this to your attention immediately upon receiving the information. There are Alterian scout ships in the northern portion of the Rended Island." Aramis kind of looks to him with a bit of a, sympathetic smile. Balthar kind of looks to you again. We only just received this information a couple of days ago. It seems that they were the ones responsible for the issues at the Sliver Island.
I see. Do we know if they're behind more than just that? Because there have been reports of pirates in the area.
It seems that they are hiring up those pirates and adding them to their forces. And there's misdirection campaigns afoot, as I understand. Looks to Alvin. Something about a ship being found out at sea by one of our local merchants. Is that not right, Alvin?
I believe the lady knows of the ship.
And how
Indeed.
it was said to be from somewhere entirely different. I believe the Altarians are making a play, or at least testing the waters here. And I think they mean to use the... Unfortunately, elves take everything so very seriously. He looks at Aramis, and you see Aramis's like slight smile go. Look, Balthar says everything so seriously. You are under the impression that these dwarfs truly want conflict, whereas it's mostly the people who are given titles and lands and wealth who are forcing those beneath them into such irresponsible conflict. I assure you, the morale is probably not the same there as it is here, whereas you are not reliant on your lowliest person residing at the temple of the bright star and working a fine enough task going to seek out the ruins and understanding if they are a retreat point. You would not find the same kind of willingness to perform such efforts from the lowliest of the dwarves. If you get my
Well,
meaning.
I suppose I do, but even if I do believe that the threat from the Adamant Isle is just posturing, I would still prefer to be prepared in case the worst did happen and the posturing was more aggressive than first thought. As for what's going on with the Altair Isles, do we know, has word gotten beyond our ports, or?
Balthar's about to talk, and then you see Aramis kind of cut in. A quick note on your preparedness. I am absolutely 100% behind your efforts, and I applaud them, and I'm very thankful for the efforts to make sure there is a second, third, and fourth contingency plan, if not more, in response to possible threats, even though some think they are not meritable. Regarding what I know of the Altarians, and what has been said to me by some of those who have traveled outside of the town into the forests for logging purposes, it seems that their attack on the Sliver Isle was expected by some of the people present there. It seems that a few of the folks in the town of Knock, which I will ping, were under the impression that the Sliver Isle was selling a lot of its wares through fishing to Great Altaria at a higher price than they were able to ferret here in Kasari Yanvi. And he looks over to Alvin. You must have noticed the numbers going down.
Of course.
For the moment of silence, I had noticed Zach make a movement. I wasn't sure if he was going to say something.
It got said.
Cool. Just wanted to make sure he didn't have something to add.
Is it possible that there are Altarian spies among us?
Among us now?
Yes.
Balthar.
Does he say that plainly in the hall?
Yeah, Cyril does.
It's just us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Cyril's a plain-spoken guy, too.
Balthar kind of looks.
Are we that at each other's throats?
Well,
no,
I interject.
not amongst us in this group here, but I mean, within
In the town itself.
the town itself. Yeah, that's the intent of the message.
Okay. Alvin just keeps staring daggers at you.
Balthar kind of places a hand on your shoulder and kind of gives you a look, And then you see a look from Aramis that's as condescending as it was when he basically told Balthar to drop it, kind of staring back at you. And Balthar replies, "So far as I understand, the marketplace has not seen any folks of that nature. No Alterians have really came to Kasari Anwi in the better part of 2-3 decades. We don't get much traffic from them because they're very cloistered people. I believe the same is true for you on the outskirts, and also in the forest lands, correct, Aramis?" Aye. Yeah, that's accurate. We don't see much trade from the western island, or western half of the Rended Island, which is where they'd probably come from if they were coming to us by land. And by port, looks to Alvin, no Alterians, right?
Not that I've seen. I know that there is a merchant, Maddox Corbin. He frequents Salteria. He shouldn't return in 2-6 day.
Do you know
He usually,
he raises
yes.
the flag of the Alterian Empire, or is he bannerless?
he's bannerless. He's a strong captain.
Fair.
He's known well on the waters.
The
Would I have any
Yeah.
inkling of?
basically what you say is canon. So as long as
Okay.
you're not saying, "Oh, he's Superman and he's going to fight for us,"
No.
and
No.
Oh my gosh, we got Superman on our side, guys.
Yeah.
Great.
game, you guys win. I lost because I said you could make stuff up. So that's how D&D is won. Thank you for watching. And that's that. Call it a night. No, so but back to serious mode. So yeah, if you had said no, yeah, Alterians have been coming in all, I would have gone with it. So yeah, it's pretty much free reign so long as it's not crazy. But yeah, just a heads up on that. No taken. So after they kind of the Three Kings have their dialogue about no Alterians, haven't had trade with them, you see that Valesha kind of looks to you, Lady Alcantara, and then kind of looks back to the table, and it looks like basically is doing what Zach was doing a minute ago. Like she's trying to say something and get a word in edgewise.
Flesha, if you have something to say, speak.
Hey, of course. We have been doing some investigatory work in the town proper, and we have seen a couple of Alterians. They were holding up mostly in the port side of town, but they were moving about conspicuously. We detained one of them, but by our rule were forced to release them a day ago.
Oh my gosh, didn't you read the Patriot Act though? Come on.
You can hold those people forever.
Blacksite.
Just no.
Rendition.
I won't do it. I would rather quit my job as a law enforcement officer than violate people's rights. Take notes. Take notes. So she says, we were investigating a bit about town and trying to find any suspicious characters after what had been mentioned happening at the temple had happened about 6 or 7 days ago, and we've been looking for the culprit or any information or evidence that might help us, find out what happened with that grisly affair.
Is everyone here aware of what happened at the temple? And
Balthar
Halo
says-
looks at Lady Alcantara. I look at her.
Balthar says aloud, just interjecting, "Yeah, we heard about that."
We had a town meeting at the religious center, so imagine word got out.
Aramis says, "We heard about the misfortune at the Temple of the Bright Star."
Okay.
But Valesha kind of, after that awkward moment, kind of says, "We have an idea of where they were last seen. If you want, I can commit to going to ask them some questions. If we can find them
Sorry,
again."
I might have missed something. But did they do something to provoke this attention?
So no, it's not so much that it's we were looking for suspicious characters, and well, the one we detained, they let's just say that they committed to an act that was very clearly a violation of another person's mental capacities.
Could you elaborate upon that?
He used a spell to augment their mental capacities. They were doing things that they would not normally do.
See.
The person that they were affecting.
Cyril, do you know of anybody's capabilities in this town? Or someone that may possess those capabilities in this town?
You're Cyril, Andy.
I'm sorry, say that again. I missed that.
Do you know
Sorry.
anybody that has these capabilities or has the capabilities to do this to someone in an arcane manner?
I have not heard of such a thing. That is beyond my abilities.
Well, out of character, being trained in Arcana, I would tell you that it could be something as simple as the Friends cantrip. It could be something
Oh,
like the
okay.
Charm Person spell.
Oh, charm person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Suggestion, maybe?
Suggestion.
Then I'd rewind. Then yeah, I know those things.
Well, yes, but is there someone else in town who may also know them, besides those present right now?
Would I know of any other arcanist?
Your call.
I mean, off the top of my head, I can think of one other person in town who's not at this meeting, but is on this screen. Talking about Leaf. Leaf can do these things, potentially. I don't know his
You
spell.
invited me to this meeting, actually.
Nope,
Also, okay.
you were not invited.
I was going to say a couple things. I'm glad I didn't then.
Also, I don't know how far along in the wizard training she got, but there's also the one hunter that at least had some training before they left the wizard school.
Yeah, and I guess my apprentice Arave might potentially know some of this.
Aramis kind of looks. It doesn't matter if there's someone capable of doing this or not. It's not uncommon power. It'd be like asking if someone was found stabbed or butchered. Like I think this happens to be the case. You would ask everyone who has access to blades be brought in.
Well, I wouldn't think the spell suggestion out of character would cause someone to put themselves in harm's way by doing those actions. I would think it would be higher magic.
It's not so much about making someone be put into harm's way. That wasn't what it was elicited there. It's acting outside of their ken. So, like, if someone basically says, "Charm person, we're best friends now," I would like to have that for free and drink free all night. Or I would like to stay
Right.
here for free. Or casting friends and doing something to kind of elicit information out of them. And then them coming to the realization after that spell was placed upon them. So it's not so much that they were harming anyone, it's that they were harming someone through words.
Well, it may be worth not taking any harsh action, but speaking to that person again, or if nothing else, at least keeping an eye out to see if
Yes,
anything else of that nature occurs with them again.
we did inform them that we might have follow-up questions regarding the matter, since the individual who was wronged in this regard didn't seem to want to pressure the matter once we had him incarcerated, which is why we could only hold him for as long as we did. That said, of course, we will go and check with him and see if he's still in town, and we will...
What's his name?
I don't have it offhand. I apologize. It's back in my... I deal with a lot of people day to day. Apologies. Balthar kind of looks to you and says, "It's not like you remember the name of all the ships that pass through your port."
I don't even know if there's Alterians in our port.
Aramis smiles. Fair enough. Balthar kind of. Valesha. Stone cold face. She just. He's
Not sure if she should laugh or not.
Yeah, she's not. Am I? Do I get to laugh? Or are they laughing at me? I don't.
Yeah. Well, if no one has any other information, I do think that we should at least discuss what other plans to do with people after we possibly move them out of town if something does happen. I believe that that is at least a good start to a plan, but
Well, I think first, if we may, could we step back and discuss how many people you'd like to do this exploration mission, and if they are going to be accompanied by any, guards or...
You see Balthar kind of press his elbow onto the table and kind of place his hand on his shin. Aramis kind of crosses his arms, watching this.
well, I mean, how many
Are
do
we
you think
going
are
to send them
necessary?
out unguarded and unprotected? Because that... Ollie.
Excuse me, apologies. I don't mean to interject at this moment, but I do have a question. Balthar says. Exploration of what, exactly?
Well, the ruins, to determine whether the land
Oh.
is fertile, if we could determine what the
Apologies. The look on her face
defenses are.
led me to believe it was something different. Of course.
No.
Absolutely.
Town of ruins.
Absolutely. Absolutely uninterested at that point.
Yeah, I'm certain that we could spare a few troops. I'm hopeful that within our own borders we are at least somewhat safe. But of course, some could be spared.
Milady, I did have something of interest I wanted to speak to you about concerning possible munitions. But if you're ending the meeting, I'll just say it quickly. I have a contact on the Nadrasi Isle who has acquired some dwarven weapons of war. The Nadrasi are wanting to sell them. And it seems that my contact on the island has gone silent, has not come back in a couple of days after being sent back to let them know that I am interested. So when they returned back, I was thinking, and it's entirely up to you whether or not you wish to do it, and also entirely up to Alvin if he wishes to allow for it, but with my munitions and my armaments added to his personal yacht, you might be able to make a show of force at the Sliver Isle, and perhaps contest it, and see if these Alterian scouts are smaller or larger than anticipated. You don't, of course, have to go yourself. You could send gestures to Valesha for a second and kind of moves over to Cyril.
Well, of course. If you are interested in having your contact be looked into, we are sending a few people over to negotiate with those on the Nadrasi Isle. I don't know if you yourself would be interested, or if you would be interested in sending one of your subordinates.
Ukamar, no, I definitely would not want to go to. No. The further I am away from the Adamant Isle, the better. I will tell you the contact I sent out that way. His name is Kelvin. Kelvin Marshstomper. And if you are able to find him, dwarf, balding, kind of grayish hair, older fellow, but he's weathered. He's missing his pinky on one hand, and he tells a great story about how it was devoured whole by a strange tentacled beast from the seas. But anyway, if you find him, so much the better. And if you are maybe interested in purchasing those tools of war yourself, and perhaps maybe a finder's fee for me, entirely up to you, of course. But
Of course.
I'm pretty sure I have the men and women who would be capable of putting those armaments onto a boat and making it a firing platform for those articles of war.
Indeed. Also, since since Zach's gone, it's going to be hard to talk about numbers.
He's right there.
Oh, you're right there.
I'm eating chicken, sorry.
You didn't see him?
Oh, that's fine. You just disappeared off. Well, I was writing notes,
Fair.
and when I came back, he was gone.
I could see the back of his chair.
Okay. Also, really quickly, it was Kelvin what?
Kelvin Marsh Stomper.
Marsh Stomper. You must go get along well with Puddle Glum. Anyway, going back to Zach's question about how many people to send, Alcantra's question would necessarily be like, how many would he think would be necessary?
I'd say at least 10 workers, and the guard to cover them.
I will go myself if you wish it, my lady. Felicia says.
Try and think of, I mean, it might be best if you do and bring, I'd say, we've got what, like 110 soldiers, so 10 others with her.
Very good. It shall be done. Will you people be prepared for a leave in the morning?
Give them a day.
So it shall
They
be done.
should leave not on the morrow, but the following.
Balthar seems bored and is kind of getting up from the table as this is going on, and he stands there, kind of pushes his chair in and holds the top of it, looks to Lady Alcantara, and you can see Aramis kind of not taken aback, just kind of annoyed. And Balthar says, "Do I have your leave, my lady?"
If you have other business to attend to, certainly.
I absolutely do, and thank you. He turns and starts heading out. Aramis kind of places his elbow on the table and kind of places his hand on it, kind of looking over at you. Once the door closes behind him, he says, "I do apologize for him."
He's been here long enough. I think it's time you stop apologizing for him.
No, I will always apologize for him.
So be it. It's your energy.
It's necessary. He's a bit different than us, just based on his upbringing. In Darkhelm, people are taught to put up a lot with things that they are not, and push those facades forward. And Balthar's counter to that treachery was, and has always been, to be straightforward, as you well know. So, I will apologize for not only him, but also for the sins he's endured in his childhood and his upbringing. I apologize, my lady. I rambled. I do have a matter I wanted to discuss as well, if everyone else is done placing their matters forward.
The floor is yours.
I understand that if the ruins are going to be moved upon, that fertile land and farmland will be divvied out from the town in an order or manner accordant with our normal arrangements. Is that accurate?
It is.
I would like to send some of our fine workers out to aid Halo's movements there.
That seems perfectly reasonable.
I'll send 30 of our common folk to stake their claims. 10 of them will be useful in exploring any subterranean accesses or possible mines in the area around the town of Iskar-Yanwi.
Very well. Any other business, or should we adjourn Eve?
Seems like it.
Alright, I would grab Cyril before he leaves.
And everybody
just
else.
tell him to wait a moment.
Okay. And everybody else leaves.
I
Before I
am actually
leave-
gonna hang around,
Yeah.
if I can, and let everyone else kind of trickle off.
I'd want to speak with the lady.
Oh my gosh.
We just asked
So
if there's any
why
more
now?
business.
I want to speak with her in private.
Well, give me a moment.
Well, you can obviously say no, boo, get out of here to anybody.
I mean, do you mind saying what you want to say in front of Cyril and Halo?
No,
Okay,
I do mind.
you do mind. Great. Zach, did Halo have something specific to say too, or?
All I would say, even if it's the three of them here, my concern, lady, is sending 30 of our citizens out to this land. We may be seeding a new town. Just be wary.
Do you say that
They may
before or
not come
after Aramis leaves?
After Aramis leaves. But when it's just El Contra, Cyril, and I guess I would like try and say it away from
Alvin can read your lips.
Alvin, but I don't care if he really hears. The point is not to say it in front of Aristotle because
Aramis.
Aramis, sorry, in front of Aramis because he might not see it the same way I see it, and
Yeah.
I'm not here to get involved in that. My point is just to, as I'm about to leave, I say to Lady Alcontra, hey, just be aware, you're sending 30 private citizens with enough funds to develop that land. Like, it's one thing to send the temple people. If they come back, they'll come back to me. They don't have the funds to build a new town. You might be seeding a rivalry right here. Just be careful. Like, and I'm gonna fly out on that. Like, sending private citizens to go survey land is a really good way to lose that money in our own citizenry.
Yep, point well taken.
So I fly off. That's all.
Alright. Andy, would Cyril mind waiting outside for a second while?
Of course,
That's
that's
his
not a big
piece.
deal. Yep.
Yeah.
As he's leaving, it would just be me and the lady in the room.
Yeah.
I've heard word of a mission.
Indeed.
You don't wish to go alone, do you?
Who said I was going?
Word travels.
Real quick, no, you actually
I
would not
I
assume
wouldn't
she's
know
going.
she's going. Okay, cool.
You
Sorry.
would not have heard that part, no.
Metagame. But I would know of the.
You
Leaf
would
and
know about
Ulair.
the part and Leaf
Correct.
going. Yeah.
Your compatriot Finrear. He talks too much, and in the public.
Fefnir.
Fefnir.
Fenfer.
I thought it was. I thought it was Fenrir. Sorry. It's his
Yeah.
picture. It's his. Isn't that his picture?
No.
Well,
Oh no, I was
that's-
looking at Flaxus.
That is something to be brought up with Tim's character's name, which I'm blanking on
Ulair.
right now.
Quothus.
Quothus, yes.
Dangerous excursion. They should go disguised, I would assume. Maybe less numbers.
Well, I've left that matter up to Quothus. If you have questions about it, I suggest you bring it up with him. To be fair, Tim, I did tell you, bring who you want. That was your mission. I just said I was going along.
No, I just see the potential for Alvin to try and corner Quothus, and we get into a contest of wills, and I'll lose.
These are, just to be completely clear, this is not necessarily from me that this order comes from. This is from Lady Aristotle. So this is from even over my head. So she ask specifically that Master Crothis was put in charge.
And what are we seeking to really gain with this mission? Just to survey what is there? I don't understand.
You don't
There's
have to
too
know.
many. There's too many enemies on our fronts. What about the north?
Well, that is new information, which I shall.
And we are
Inform
ambitious and
others.
wanting to go to these ruins. Are we spreading our forces too thin? Our energies too vast?
The ruin should hopefully not occupy more than a day, and as soon as it is done, they shall be back. We also do have extra troops coming in specifically for defending this area and nothing else. I'm hoping that that bolstering of forces should be enough to keep us safe for the time. As for those going out to speak to others, or to, what was it, to survey on the Nadrasi Isle, that is mostly those from the guild and not from our direct forces.
Perhaps we could find this ally of Koppelmugs, this contact of Koppelmugs on the Nadrasi Isle. Maybe his corpse?
Hopefully his corpse with his spirit inside of it.
Just saying this. Be careful with who you send. You may not see them return.
I thank you for your advice.
And then, yeah. I would leave.
Okay.
Politely bow and
So for Cyril, I would ask him, I'm putting together a letter of information which I believe we forgot to mention to Lady Arisnal left, to be sent to her through our now oh so convenient teleportation circle.
Well,
Specifically,
it hasn't been activated on the other side, so
well,
it's
yeah, but
currently a one-sided nothing.
when it is, you
Yeah.
know. And I was contemplating, I have included information about the pirate ship that we have and the issues that we have had, and I will now also include about Altair. I am wondering, what is your thought on including information of this eye that was potentially used to scry upon the ship and now sits in your tower? Do you think that is information worth divulging, or do you think it is of little to no consequence?
Oh, I think it's of some consequence. We just don't know its import. How much do we trust her with such information?
That's always the question, isn't it?
You're in some very treacherous waters, my lady. There's danger across the Nadrasi. There's danger to the north with the Alterians. There are forces at work we don't understand. There's rumors that the town is being occupied. Many things. Does Cyril know that you're going to be going on this mission yourself?
You don't know that.
That's what I was asking you.
Oh, you were asking me.
Yeah.
Cyril doesn't know that.
Mhm. So, this is you're in dangerous waters. If you trust her, I would include it.
That is the question, isn't it? Well, I shall think upon it then. And I'm done.
Okay. If you're all done for the evening, you all kind of move towards your respected kind of bed chambers, sleepy times, trancing for the majority of you, thinking about the events of the day and what the events of the next day bring forward at sun's first light. As you're all kind of getting prepared the next morning, going through your regular routines, you would note that today is a very obnoxiously sunny day, even from the onset. And you know that it's moving through spring towards the equinox, so this is anticipated. But still, lots of sun. And you would note, too, that there seems to be kind of a strange air of like, I don't know, calm to the seas near Kasari Yanwi. Just a very quiet day. On this day, we'll start with the lady and move from her outwards. What would you like to start your day doing? And also, quick note for me, scheduling wise, in game, your plan to move on to Nadrasi is set for within the 6th day. Do you have a day in mind, or?
I mean, my idea is basically the sooner the better. Like, as soon as Quothos is
Okay.
ready to move, I figured, you know,
Then I'll
Yeah.
skip you and I'll go to Tim. Tim, it's the next morning, and you've. Oh, sorry. Someone wanted to talk to Tim. Is that the plan for today? There, Dan.
Yeah, either him or Quathos.
Clothus is Tim.
yeah, Tim
Oh,
is Quothos.
sorry.
He also goes
Sorry.
by Ulair, but
Yeah, that's what I was like, huh?
It's yeah.
Who is this?
It's kind of fun to see who refers to me as what.
Yeah,
Ulair was kind of my street name. Quothus is my form.
right.
okay. I would probably know him as Ulair too, maybe. I don't
Hmm.
know. I would know as Quothus. Fuck.
Okay.
It's basically, do you want more? I would guess it'd be, do you want a more element of familiarity or a more formal setting? Is probably how you look at it.
Quothus.
I think, how would you introduce yourself to people, Tim? That's
Quothus
my
not all
question.
day.
I mean, it depends on who, I guess.
Right.
Like, I guess Ulair would be, no, I'd introduce myself as Quothus because Ulair is more for people I know and love. Or just know me from when I stole from them.
Right.
Oh, you're a thief.
Urchin.
Stuff you don't know. So anyways, you would head out that morning then. And then Tim, Ulair would kind of, wake up in the morning. You do have an idea of who you've mustered. You have Halo invited, Leave. You presume Cyril would have been invited directly if he would have been invited, so not your place, you presume. And you have a couple of other individuals who've been asked to accompany as well. The number of hunters that you've decided upon. You gather up that information, and you've basically made sure that they are ready whenever. Basically, whenever she says go, that's when it happens. And I'm assuming you're preparing to go and meet with her to let her know that's the case, right?
Yeah, and I would have the. I'm assuming we finished the workshop open cover letter and kind of advert to send out to
Mm-hmm.
Lady Aristotle. So I'd have that with me too to pass along
Okay.
for her to deliver.
So as your, papers in hand, kind of documents, specifically the advertisement and the information there, there's a knock at the door, pretty early in the morning, but there's a knock on the door. The office is technically closed. So
I'm trying to think with. I don't know if I'd be too suspicious. I'm in a good mood too. I'm sporting spring. Thanks to good old Halo. So, oi, can I help you?
At the door, you would see two large gentlemen, swords at their side. And they're not like brandishing their weapons or anything, but they're behind me. They're escorting me. Quothus, I wish to take a little bit of time this morning, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, I'm off to see her ladyship soon, but I can spare a moment for sure.
I appreciate your kindness.
we'll wait on
Gentlemen. Yeah, it's exactly what I was yielding to them. I would step inside, kind of taking in the room. What's the room look like? Your quarters.
Oh, you're not in his quarters. You're in his front office. Like,
Oh, what would your office look like?
I would have a desk. It would probably be kind of disorganized because I hate paperwork. There'd probably be a trophy of some, maybe like a hide of a displacer beast that was killed at one time, like kind of like a bear skin type thing on the carpet. Like it'd be a displacer beast skin. Don't know what you're gonna do with the tentacles, but we figured it out. And then possibly like an owlbear head mounted on the wall. I would say it has an air of like, I don't know, he might seem almost out of place in the office, where like it's not necessarily any of this was his decorating choice. It was just this is how it was, and he hasn't really touched it. It's like it's there. Like there's probably some shelves with some like tomes on monster knowledge or whatnot. They probably have some dust on it too in certain sections where others might be more signs of use. And yeah, he's just sort of like slouching back in his chair, like not like he's basically like have a seat. There's
He's
probably
comfortable.
like exactly. He's comfortable in like, okay, let's talk, but it's like he's learned to find comfort in this weird office that he doesn't really take ownership of.
And a quick note too, something you said that Dan's probably not picking up on yet because he isn't terribly familiar yet with Clothis, but you said you're representing spring at current, right?
Correct. So that would be, I currently have the coloration of like fair-skinned, green hair and green eyes.
Yesterday he was blonde.
Okay. And would I understand my character understand that at all, or just
Make an Arcana check. They're not terribly common, but they are common enough that you might get it.
gonna be untrained?
Yeah. 22? Yeah. So this basically identifies him fully to you now as an Eladrin. There were hints at it before, but this is confirmation for you. Eladrin are elves that come more directly from the Feywild and are more closely attuned to the Witwiaven, which are the seasonal goddesses. And so they have the kind of manifestation of each of them, although some kind of fall into one directly. It seems that Quothis is a little bit more emotionally uncentered.
I'm working on it, buddy. I'm working on it.
I would comment on just basically, your trophies. Are these your accomplishments? Have you felled these beasts, or do you merely own these possessions?
I wish I got out of the office long enough to muster up the strength to defeat one of them myself. Nah, they came with the office when I took ownership.
Do you tire of being cooped up in your office?
I would say it was not the kind of work I was born for, but when responsibility's placed upon you, I guess you kind of got to do right by your people.
That's admirable. It's very admirable. I trust that you're true to the lady.
Your meaning?
Lydia Elantra. Did I say the name right?
Elcontra.
Right.
Elcontra.
Elcontra.
More like, what is your meaning by true to?
You're her man. You are effectively, I guess, one of her. I don't know, someone that she
Okay,
can
like,
confide in, that she can
loyal?
trust. Loyal.
Oh, okay. Well, I wouldn't quite say. I seek the good of the town, and she happens to run it. So,
She's good for the town, no?
she hasn't done wrong.
You had to
by
think
yet,
about
from
it.
from what I can muster.
So he had to think about it there for a minute. Okay.
Whether it was he actually had the thing, or it's just he doesn't know how to say it right. There's
Okay.
definitely there's something there, like, yeah.
Okay. Well, good. I have known the lady for some time now, and I know that sometimes she likes to see things done in brash ways. I know the way she thinks sometimes, and I have concerns that she may be putting herself in danger. Overstretching. I play chess with her a lot. I may be taking
Hold
liberties.
on. Wait.
Yeah.
Deception, Tim, insight,
Yes.
Dan.
That's what I'm trying to like. What did he say that's gonna make me to have to like not let it out?
All right.
Fucking nailing it, dude.
So when
This is I just want to say really,
when you say
the best.
Dan, I want to make sure you understand. When you say she's putting herself in danger, what your character's mentality is by stretching herself too thin. But before you
Correct.
finish the sentence, you see Ulair kind of like get very nervous and cautious, like he seems to be holding on to a secret that you are not privy to, and it's confusing because, what? And then
Never.
you kind of let out the stretching herself too thin with, and you start naming off the things, and you see Akothis kind of go, oh, kind of like he doesn't mean the
Never
thing.
again.
Like, what once looked like I was comfortable in the chair, I'm now kind of pushing myself to the back of it, potentially almost white knuckling like the arms. Like,
What do you know? Is Our Lady in danger?
I don't think so. I think she's still in her cape.
God, I hope not.
So-
Still in her keep.
So you see that
He,
Hold on.
Alvin becomes angry.
go nuts.
Speak, you fool.
He froze. He becomes angry. That's it. That's all we're
That's
getting
it.
out of Dan.
All done.
Alvin
freeze?
becomes angry.
Did he
Take a
freeze?
screenshot.
End of game.
Oh my god! Look at his face.
Those fucking eyebrows.
Oh, so when he
Man, I banged my table and fucked up my computer.
when he ra-
I thought you were holding out a gun
That was the perfect time, man.
when he rages,
Oh,
he
that
rage
sucks.
quits.
God.
That's so Dan. That's,
Oh my
That's
God.
not.
That's fucking awesome.
I banged the table too hard.
technical difficulties. One moment, please.
Hey,
Oh my
you guys
God.
broke Dan. Come on.
Dan broke me.
Dan broke all of us. Let's be honest.
Damn on D&D.
Awesome. Oh shit.
Effectively, what I was trying to accomplish, I was really trying to press you.
Yeah.
Pretty,
We got
I mean,
Alvin
banged it.
becomes angry. That was it.
I mean, honestly, do we need more than that?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, for the moment, the laughter we got there.
Are we waiting for video to come back or?
No, go
just
nuts.
continue with audio? All right.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So like you're get angry and pressing and no, it's like and I mean no disrespect. I don't know how I've ended, but as far as I can tell, she'd probably be where she sleeps right now.
Yeah.
You're not being forthright with me.
I'm trying to answer your question as directly as possible.
But you're speaking in riddles.
What information are you actually trying?
Give me.
So
give me
are
a-
you.
No. Stop. We're out of the role game. You're playing the game right. He doesn't have just because he is known for lying doesn't mean he has to he has to stop lying. Like that's not how the game works, Dan. You know he's lying. He can continue being a liar.
And right now it's like the help understanding is that like the questions you have asked, I'm giving the most immediate response to the question. Like she is currently right now, as far as I know, in her castle, and you asked, is she in danger?
Right. So insight and knowing that he's currently lying and guarding something does not give you the right to get
No,
the
no.
information.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got you. Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
better.
If you keep pressing, things might go your way. But
Really fucked myself over by. Here, give me a second.
Well, wait. Are
You
we
karate
going to
chop
have
the
like
computer.
that contest of will sort of thing here?
Yeah, if he
John?
keeps pressing. I mean, it depends on how the conversation goes. I'm waiting for the moment because right now it looks like there are battle lines being drawn. I just need to see if there's a fight happening. Dan needs to figure out his computer.
Right, I'm just opening Zoom.
Okay.
And I'm also kind of wanted to go there because it's going to allow for really funniness when I end up losing. And
I love that Tim has resigned himself.
Have you figured out your composure break, Tim?
yeah.
All right, here we go.
This
All right.
is
So,
fantastic.
Thank
I'm
God.
so happy.
Tim,
Getting back into roll 20.
okay. Quothus seems to be pressing it defensively and not answering intentionally.
So, Alvin would just take a deep breath, kind of composing himself. I feel that I can help the lady, but I don't know how.
What would I know about Alvin as far as like, what would I know at all about his like skill sets?
He's a master merchant. He is a very skilled accountant. If you have any idea of how trafficking from the ports goes, you would be well aware that he obviously is held to a high regard by the citizens of the town, because the Three Kings is a title not that they grant themselves, it's what the people of the town call them. And they try to fight back against that kind of moniker, because it basically denotes that the lady is actually not in power, but the kings are. And you know that all three of them, Balthar, Aramis, and Alvin, and his father before him, have all basically vied for that not to be used to basically denote them, because it's an insult to Elfon.
Okay. And also, like, that would also mean that I would probably never actually use the term king to describe him then, knowing that
Correct.
like that's something they hate. Okay.
Not unless you want to get under his skin.
Well, what I can say is, knowing what you can do, I have been tasked with to handle negotiations on Nadrasi, and you know, if I think about it, Leaf is a great talker and orator, and he's coming along, and I'm gonna see if Halo wants to come to kind of serve as a calming presence if need be. But if there's any form of negotiations when it comes to the numbers and possibly compensation for what we seek to enter into with those on Nadrasi, you could serve as a valuable asset if you wanted to tag along.
How do you means to travel to Nadrasi?
Currently we'd just be taking the bridge. I'd be taking a team of some of my hunters to help scout.
The bridge is the most direct route, by the way. It's not hard.
Is there no way to take a boat?
Yeah, you could, but the problem is there aren't pirates on the bridge.
Okay. Pirates are that bad on the bridge? Or on the under the bridge? I thought it was just like
Under the bridge. So the bridge. Okay, real quick. Let's discuss the bridge a little bit more. So, because again, I have it in headcanon. I don't think it's coming in as directly as you guys, as I want it to for you guys. The bridge basically starts in Kasari Anwi at a cliff and goes out over the ocean or over the seas. Okay, this is done at about 100-foot height, and it maintains that height of 100 feet over the entirety of the Narrows, which are the two strips that go along the outside of the Nadrasi Isle. Those pillars are some 100 feet wide in like all coursers and go straight down into the sea. When I say people are building settlements on the pillars, it's not a jest. It's like, think of in your mind like what the base of San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge looks like, with like those kind of spots at the bottom. People are building up docks on those and basically ferrying out from them instead of setting up land points. And when people try to pass through the bridge's archways, they're attacked by bandits.
I got you. Okay. Yeah, no, that's much more grand than what I was imagining.
It's just not that again, this distance, let me just make sure you understand, like, size wise, this distance is accurate. That is
Oh.
miles.
Okay.
Yeah. It is just shy of being longer than the bridge that is the longest bridge in real life. And it's
Gotcha.
70 something miles for the real life bridge. This one is 70 something miles if you go and count the fact that there's an island in between. Or
Right.
just discount that.
And the island is riddled with beasts and monsters.
Yeah, and natives who are very adamant about people not kind of trying to set up on their island.
Okay. So yeah, probably is the best means of travel then.
Hmm.
But yes,
Ah.
I mean, I see a place for you. With us if you do you want to join. Be of service to the lady.
Of course.
Okay.
Well, I'll send word for you when we mean to set out.
I mean to disguise us as well.
I think that
Real quick interjection.
those-
Sorry, real quick interjection. You were about to go and tell the lady that everyone who's ready to go is ready to go whenever she says that's the case. Alvin
Okay.
does not appear to be ready to go. So there's literally you kind of pulling out that one piece of paper and kind of
Okay.
adding a line, and it's like a to-do list, and everything else is done except for this new thing you just added to the list.
Okay. That would slightly append then how I would respond. Where like, you could come with us, but I'm about to go tell her myself that we're ready to go at a moment's notice. So if you could leave this morning, then that would definitely, we'd love to have you. I don't know if we'd have time for disguises though, and I guess furthermore,
It wouldn't take
The-
much time.
I think all you need to do is kind of at least look like a hunter, because, I mean, we have decent enough relationships with them, just for the service we kind of provide.
Excellent. I can accompany that, or I can accompany you guys in that regard.
Well, I'll as long as you can maybe hang near the guild for when I send for you. Send for the rest of the men.
I'll send one of my guards to retrieve some possessions for me. Shouldn't take long.
Okay. So one of your two guards goes back and acquires you basically your traveling gear. As Quothus, you head to the keep to go and speak with Lady Alcontra. Halo.
Hey, you want to go to the island too?
Yeah.
Halo, Leaf, and Cyril, what are your plans for the morning?
I gotta talk to Flaxius about
Oh, hey, boss.
Well, I have some exciting news for you.
Yeah.
You know how our town is like really, really, really close to the dwarf isle?
Oh, yeah.
You know how like the dwarves are really, really, really not on board with the elves because of the free United Kingdoms?
Yep. Yeah, I saw a letter about it posted up somewhere by the lady.
Yeah, there's a letter about it.
I had a dream.
So,
Well, hold on.
mhm.
I had a dream that you were gonna tell me to take some folks south to the town. Did that really happen, or did you not tell me that?
We can have it happen now.
He kind of looks at you wide-eyed for a second. Huh. Okay. Wait. Is that what you want?
More specifically, you know the town of, was it Isengard or
Iskaryanwi, yeah.
Iskaryanwi?
That's where you said to go. The ruins of Iskaryanwi, to set up a small settlement for people if they get sent out of their town.
Of course. So I'd like you to take about 10 to 20 of our workers with you. The best who would be able to, survey the land and make sure it's habitable.
He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a piece of paper, and there's a list of 20 people. And he looks at you. Are you sure we didn't do this already?
Sure. Either way.
Out of character note. We have not done this.
Okay. I don't have the best memory.
No. This is why.
Not sure if I'm being gaslit by DM or by player. Like, by
100%,
character.
100% was hoping for this moment where it's like, is he fucking with me? Yes, I am fucking with you. But it definitely seems this
Yeah.
is something, when you think about it, this is something that's come up a couple of times in the past. It's been this weird kind of situation where Flaxius and his wife sometimes will know what you're going to say before you say it.
Yeah.
Like there's some sort of strange emotional attachment there that you're not 100% aware of. But yeah, he says these ones will do. If that's the case, I'll go get them ready. And when are we leaving? This morning?
The plan is for you to gather supplies for the day. The guard will be accompanying you. I believe there's 10 guard and oh shit, her name is
Valencia.
Valesha. Valesha, as well as some private citizens, I believe, who will be scouting the land, which is why I need you to be very certain of what we are able to keep for those who will need it, refugees from the town. Understood?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Thank you. I trust you.
Okay. That separates. And then what was the next point on the docket?
That was all I had.
Yeah,
As I had
Leaf
to do
and
that, so you
Cyril.
can cash the leaf if you want.
Okay.
Kevin looks like he's got some.
Kevin?
Yeah, I just woke up. No, what I want to do is I want to go to the place in town where the most people in the morning or would be heading out, because I'm trying to like reach a large crowd, and I know probably people are going to be going about their business during the day. And then I would try to do a performance to get people's attention just for a couple minutes. Play my draft song that my patron Kareem had paid me to play. So that's my plan.
Okay. So, you head out and you go to kind of gather some folks and kind of let them know that's you're going to be singing this song. So you have an audience prior to that. Go ahead and do me a favor and just make me a persuasion check.
All right. Let's see if my luck is holding up. Persuasion. Oh yeah,
Nice.
I'm fucking nailing it already.
25. All right, you gather several people, most of them kind of being at a small shop that sells a liquid you're familiar with known as coffee, a relatively newer drink to the Rended Island, but something you've encountered in your travels, specifically the Mastiff Peninsula. Yeah, they definitely drink a lot of coffee there. But you find some folks who are kind of standing around waiting for it, and some other folks who are drinking tea at some small cafe kind of place, and you gather everybody together as best you can, and you brandish your instrument and ready that implement, and you then start singing the song as before. Go ahead and make me a performance check with advantage.
All right.
Oh, I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay.
All right.
Work
I've
all
done
night
it.
and I sleep all day.
If I can do it 3 times in a row here, guys. 3rd time's a charm. Do this. Performance. Not so good. I'm gonna use my inspiration.
You don't have to. I
Well,
said
no,
you
no,
have
no,
advantage.
He said it was at inspiration or at
I had
advantage.
Sweet. Anyway, so I nail it then. 25.
Very shortly after your tune has been kind of merited out, you start hearing applause kind of coming from them, and several of them yelling. And the term that you're familiar with, bis, and you know this to mean again, encore. And as you get ready to start playing it again, this is about the same time that you stayed at the guild. You're waiting there for your guard to bring back stuff. Quothus, you're kind of making your way through the town and heading towards the keep, and you would see that Quothus is playing this song. Skip, keep moving, or
No,
It's not just any song.
it's really good.
Good
No,
performance
yeah.
of a song.
I would swing by and say, Leaf, the tune is coming around wonderfully, lovely. I love it. just a small note to remember: we need to be ready to leave at a moment's notice. I might be coming back, getting everyone ready. So I love it. Sounds amazing.
Someone kind
I
of
love
pushes
the fact
in
you've
and
gathered.
says, "Sorry, hi. It was a really great tune. Has someone already been your patron for this? Have you already, or are you just performing it out and about? I'd love to transcribe it into one of my." And you see that you're basically being muscled away by fans who are
Right,
starting to come
right.
around.
Head to the guild as soon as you can.
Yes, I would definitely wave to quote this. You know,
And the people ask you lots of questions, and you answer
Right,
these
right.
questions
Body
diligently.
surfs away.
Body surfing back to your house.
right. Great. I'm going to encourage people to play that song because it has a good message for
So
today's traveling time.
you tell the guy to go ahead and transcribe it. See, make sure many people get this. And you also do you mention the patron to
Oh,
people,
of course. Yes, Kareem.
spreading his name all about.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Some
then,
people pretend like they know it, and you know they're lying. Some people seem to know it, but not many.
If the person I was asking about it, transcribing it, I will definitely help them write all the words down and
Okay.
attribute it to the, it'd be
That's
by me, but then it's attributed to the patron. But that's what 10 gold pieces will buy you guys. The third time in a
It's a
row. I
bargain.
nailed
It's
it.
a bargain.
It's a damn bargain. You should
Bargain.
you should make people pay what you're worth. You know. I
I'm
mean,
gonna have to next time.
you're an artist. You're putting in good time.
That's right, but I just do it for the people, you know.
Oh yeah.
Everyone will benefit.
Fair.
Right.
So at the keep, I believe Clothis was the only one heading to go and talk to Lady Alcontra, or am I misapprehending that, Andy?
No, you didn't ask me what I wanted to do. But
Yeah.
and I'll tell you when I get a chance.
I was leading to. I'm sorry. I came at it at a different angle. I was trying to ask you, what are you doing?
Yeah.
but
So
it's cunning.
based on the meeting that we had the previous day, Cyril is increasingly concerned about the Altarians, and he'd want to do some research, and he'd want to learn specifically what he knows about Empress Chagrain Albrecht, and not only that, but if there are any connections between Alteria and the Adamant Isle and King Zod.
Well, you would know that they are allied and have been for some time. King Zod and
Well, I want to look for anything deeper than that, though. Like,
Okay.
so they're allies, but
there's really no buts there. That's pretty much all the information you'd have, unless you were at a library in either of those places.
in either of those places, okay.
Yeah. I would say if you're spending your time studying, you can make a history check to see what you might know about
I would
the
love to do that.
Empress.
You know what? We're just gonna go ahead and use my portent and use the 20 that I rolled.
I thought you had a 14 and a 1.
It was a new day, sir.
There was definitely a 20.
I see.
Yeah, there was
With
definitely a
New
20
Day.
on that port. A 20 and what? It's like
It's
16.
at 9:34 p.m.
I see it. I am a dum-dum.
It's okay.
Okay,
We still
so
love you, John.
Empress Igraine Elbrecht the Red is known as the Red Empress in lands outside of where she's from. She came to power in a very striking manner. A lot of the people vying for the position for rulership did so in a very barbarous kind of way. And from what you understand, Empress Igraine Albrecht didn't so much kill people herself, but basically inspired a lot of very fundamentalist Atavian worshippers in finding very small flaws in the would-be emperor or empresses, and this led to a lot of death sentences, and it's not entirely regarded that that the assertions that were made against those individuals were 100% founded.
So she's a real manipulator, is the idea.
She's very political. she without side efforts, she is seen as being very hands off. She does not like Alteria's ambassadors doing anything outside of what is respected and warranted by outsiders. However, based on how she came to power, this could be a velvet glove hiding an iron hand beneath. So, that said, as it stands, you know that the at least forward facing appearance would be that Alteria has nothing to gain from coming into conflict with the elves. The Rended Isle is not seen by many as very profitable due to its close affiliate or close links to the Feywild and the number of gates that lead to that realm. Because Fey creatures like messing with people.
What about anything more about her relationship with her alliance with King Zod of the Adam Isle?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, her rise to power is pretty well noted.
She seems like a tough cookie.
She's pretty awesome. But yeah, that said, you spend your morning doing that. Ulair makes it to the keep and comes to where you're located, Matt, and hands off the information, right?
Yep. Well, lady, what you said to write up to, you would send over to Lady Aristotle for her review.
Okay, and John, just as a heads up, the letter, I reworked it probably the previous night. Still not mentioning the seeing eye, but I wrote in there about the stuff that dang it, what's his name had mentioned about the Altair ships.
Altarian, yeah.
Yeah, and then also put in a little sort of like PS about Krothos hoping to,
Negotiate,
putting
yeah.
it diplomatically, Krothos is negotiating something, and here is said request that I told him I would pass through.
And yeah, he passes it over, and it's a pretty well made piece of information with input from Leaf and yeah.
Yeah, and also, has anyone come through the circle yet?
No.
Right. Alright,
Okay.
so I would give that to my scribe, whose name I have somewhere. That is sorry. I know
Sahel.
Sahel is the one. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'd give that to him, and of course would have instructed him.
Or Saleh. Sorry.
Yeah. Would have instructed him that is as soon as possible to be delivered through the circle, because it was said that we could use it for communication
Once it's opened, of course.
once it's opened, of course. And then, well, if we are ready to go, then should we go now? It's still early.
Yes, I just got to. I've assembled the people at the guild, and I just have to make one pit stop on my way back there to see if one person I had invited that I thought might be useful would be joining the expedition.
You see
Perfect. I'll meet you down there.
You see near the door Naexi kind of make a gesture to Eldrin, Quothus, and then kind of move up to the group as you're walking away, moving over to Lady Alcantara. And the same thing happens. And then yep. So you're gathering the troops there, Tim?
On my way out, just because this is actually a flaw of mine, is there anything like small, kind of trinkety that looks like, it's unnecessary, like it's not really needed, but maybe I could gone with and so later.
So as Eldrin seems to walk towards the front of the keep proper, you notice that he leaves basically a small flask unattended, made out of platinum, just kind of sitting on the corner of the table. It looks like it's not like completely made out of platinum. It looks like it's more coated with it. Might be worth 10 or something gold pieces.
Yeah, I will attempt to
Make a
wrap that up and slide it into my cat.
Sleight of hand.
All right. Oh, if only I had something to give me plus 10 to that. 19.
Good enough.
Yes.
I could an inspiration for the other one. Could I?
No.
I'm kidding. I'm fine with this.
All right. If you are gathering up everybody, does anybody? Because you already have Alvin at the guild. He's ready, or
Right.
will be made ready soon.
And the one pit stop was swinging by the temple to
Tell
see if
hello.
Halo wants to come.
Okay.
I would have the guard also send like makeup, get like just
Sure.
kind of dirty garb.
Whatever
different things.
is currently on your character sheet is perfectly fine. If you have a disguise
Love
kit,
it.
then that's the ticket. Halo, you agree, right? Okay. And do you try and stop by Leaf's house as well on the way to the guild? Because you did invite him as well.
I would hope that Leaf headed over to the guild like I told him to. If
I
I
would.
saw him
Okay.
still mustering in a
Oh.
crowd, I'd be like, Leaf, we gotta go.
Oh my god.
Am I is Cyril the only one not going?
I mean, as I said, do you want to come, Andy? Because I can come up with some excuse for you to come.
I mean, I kind of don't want to be left behind. That's-
us, Andy.
Yeah,
You
definitely. I would love to.
Join us.
It'll suck if you don't.
Fine.
So that way, if we all die, the whole town is fucked, and we can start in a totally different world.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
I think Alteria might have some
Alteria, yeah.
good benefits
Right?
right now.
It would have been
Yeah.
it would have been
Maybe
funny. It would have been funny if you did all go and then something bad did happen and then Cyril's just like the new leader of the town. It's like,
Right? Eh.
Like,
Yeah, what would be really funny is if
sometimes
we
you
all
gotta make
leave and John
sacrifice.
just destroys the town.
just
Yeah, right?
Cyril
Now
dies.
that none of
One
us
more
are there.
treachery.
Anything
Cyril's
can
the
happen.
real mastermind.
To be fair, when I played this plan, I only thought it was going to be 3 of us going.
Fair. So
To be fair, I thought I was.
I don't
bored.
think it's safe.
I didn't know Cyril and fucking Alvin were going.
you arrive at a meeting point at the bridge, prepared to go. There are the monster hunters, along with Ulair and Alvin, who is dressed a little bit less formally and a little bit more roadly. You would also note that Halo is present, and Leaf is present, and Cyril appears to be here as well. The main things to note is that Alcantara looks like describe.
So basically, I'm figuring I would actually just look like Dixie.
Yep. So
Just reverse roles.
Alcantara is there to no one, and you were told that Ulair was told the truth, right?
Yeah, Quothus is the only one
That knows that
that
that's
should know. Halo does know, and he would probably suspect that I'm the one disguised as
yeah.
Nixie, and then I don't know what at all Alvin thinks.
Alvin-
He's allowed to
Would you
think
tell
whatever he
Cyril?
wants to think.
Alvin's seen Naixi before walking around her or his ports, so he knows that
Oh, yeah,
she is
Cyril-
one of his agents. She just doesn't know, or he doesn't know what her power is.
If
How
Cyril's here, Cyril
how
won't
effective
know.
is the disguise?
It's a
It's
spell.
magical.
So,
Oh, and in case I didn't say, I was thinking of the 20 kind of personal kind of guard hunter standard bog standard guys I'd bring half of 10.
Does the spell kind of account for like mannerisms and
It
you know?
it's fine. It's not something we're going to
Okay.
dwell on too much because it's going to be revealed here soon.
yeah, it only lasts for an hour. And
so-
it's not going to be.
As you kind of gather together and kind of muster up and start heading out across the bridge, a couple of your scouts move ahead, keeping front line watch, and you continue on for the better part of the morning. At some point, about halfway through the morning, the disguise drops.
Hooray. What was expecting everyone to be here?
Hero covers her with a cloak.
I would, of course, know who she is, and I would just have this big smile on my face.
Alcantra's kind of hard to hide because she has wings. Like,
Whoops.
they just kind of whoosh, appear, and you're like, oh, okay.
When it drops, what's like the look on Alcantra's face? Like, no.
Annoyed.
Yeah, slightly annoyed that literally like everyone is here when I didn't think this was going to happen.
I
Well,
need a new disguise.
Milady, you mentioned
It's
Leaf.
fine. I put you in charge.
Halo and Alvin, I felt like could both bring something valuable to the table. And I mean, I wasn't expecting Cyril, but I'm sure having a wealth of arcane knowledge is always good to have too. But
It's fine. With a distinct look of this is not fine. Composure, like
I
compose. This
nervously
is not
pull out
fine.
some food from my pockets and just starting to like, as I start walking, I was like,
Visibly,
like nervously eat.
visibly steaming, the very bright, sunshiny day continues as you march across the bridge. It's not hot; it's just sunny.
I would-
Go ahead.
Sorry to interject. I would, lady, your disguise was amazing. Can I maybe do a little bit of changes here so we're not escorting such a well-known person? Can I?
It's
Do you
Every-
not think it's a good idea for the head of our town to show up to negotiate on this matter?
I mean, not until we arrive there.
Yeah, maybe, you know, making yourself look a bit more mundane. Maybe like some of us, as I sort of like arms out to like the hunters, like.
I mean, to
might
be
help.
fair, Tim, I actually like I did have a pair of just like regular travel type clothes
Yeah.
that I had set up for
Okay.
this. Like that was
Right.
Not to
so
just.
I'm not
A touch of
dressed
makeup
up.
might help to, you know, you are very distinguished in your bearing.
Well, real quick, just to make sure because I think there might be a misconception here as well about the bridge. Normally, the bridge would be a place where you'd see a lot of people passing to and fro. The thing is right now, the opposite side of the bridge is closed off. So there are no travelers that
Yeah.
should be passing unless someone's ferreting out from the Nadrasi Island or something.
And I'm specifically thinking like getting to Nadrasi. I want Alcantra to be as incognito as she possibly
Sure.
can, just because. Like,
Right.
hunters get along okay with the Nadrasi elves, but everyone
Sure.
else, we'll see.
Fair enough. Do you want to take some disguising, or are you going to just be out and about?
Halo would recommend you remain who you are.
Yeah, I'm fine with being who I am for the time being. I was not planning on disguising myself except to get out of town,
Fair enough.
possibly back into town.
On the next change of runners ahead of us, I'll make sure the going forward message is to.
So, as you continue on, the thing that something up ahead seems to kind of inspire a bit of confusion, because it's definitely out of place and it seems to be magically so. There appears to be a cloud of fog that's moving across the bridge.
I pull out my karambit. I have my lantern shield ready to go, and I charge that karambit.
Well, real quick, do me that's fine, but do me a favor and make a history check, Tim.
Who?
Just Tim.
Can I give him aid?
You don't need to.
I'll
He has
do-
advantage. He has advantage for it. So
Alright,
you
yeah.
got an 18. So you would recall that the elves of Nadrasi aren't terribly keen on sunlight. They hide within the forests and basically have means of protecting them in glades and dales. So this is presumed to be either someone pretending to be or using the same tactics as Nadrasi. You do see that your hunters go for blades, though, just like you were about to.
Yeah, and actually, let me just roll the charge for it real quick. How much damage I take? I take 2 damage.
Okay.
So the fog.
Can you
gives me
describe
another-
that so people understand what's happening?
So, so I take out my blade and I just draw it across this like ritual scarring I kind of have on my arms, and draw blood with it. And as my blood starts to coat the blade, you just see sparkles of electricity start to run across it.
It's pretty badass.
Lightning damage, fools.
Cool.
And so it could be nothing, but that could be Nadrasi, in which case, I mean, hey, we get to talk to them sooner, but just in case, we're gonna be on edge, just in case it's someone just trying to be like them to bring an attack on us. So be wary, but get ready to do some talking and negotiating.
As it gets a
As
bit...
he says that, Halo casts Bless.
3 targets?
I'm gonna pick El Contra, Ulair, and myself.
Okay. You hear a voice come from the fog. It says something in Sylvan. For those of you who understand Sylvan, you hear Head Chief, rise, and then you hear a small whispering voice like magical tones, and you watch as the fog cloud kind of lifts up off of the bridge's surface, revealing underneath a pretty sizable force of individuals. There appear to be about 30 Nadrasi elves marching across the bridge. It seems most of them are pulling what appear to be a number of artificed weaponry of dwarvish make. And there is a dwarf with them who appears to be walking free. He isn't in chains or anything. And very much matches the description of Kalamug's friend. The lead elf kind of steps forward, being a warrior-looking fellow, very handsome, very regal, with almost a certain sense of noble bearing to him. The other thing you notice, everybody besides Ulair, is that he looks a lot like Quothus. Like a lot like Quothus. Like really weirdly close to Quothus. And he kind of steps out from the group, and he looks to you all. In an Elvish, we were coming to see you. We did not know you were coming to see us.
Well, this is convenient then. Saves us all half a trip.
I suppose that is fair. Although we will still continue with the full trip if you are agreeing. The dwarf says, "Oh, I haven't had a chance to talk to her, actually. I don't know if she's privy of what we had planned." The elf kind of looks to him and then looks to you. "So I've been dealing with the wrong person?"
Well, I assume that this dwarf here is Master Kelvin.
"That's me, ma'am."
It was Belthars who was the one that mentioned him, right? I wrote down what his name
Correct.
was.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, and Belthas has informed me of your potential arrangement.
"So has he got the places set up?" "Oh, shucks. He must not have gotten my message."
No, he said that he hadn't heard from you for quite a little bit.
Ooh, this has put me in a spot. And the elf says, "I have dealt with you for some time, Master Dwarf. I have no need or patience to do so any longer. I will speak to the Fairy." He kind of sidesteps from the dwarf and looks to you. "You are the one known as the Pale Lady? Is this so?"
Yes, I am Lady Elcontra. I should actually learn the rest of my name.
As you finish reciting it in Elvish, he kind of looks to you and in Sylvan says some words. And those of you who speak Sylvan understand that he said, the Pale Lady, in Sylvan. He then says, I grant you these items if a number of our children can be sent to your lands and given homes. Is it so?
Why is it necessarily they need to be sent to our lands? I've heard that you are free and control Nadrasi for the time being. Is that...
Is it so? Do you agree to the trade or not?
They will be safe. in
And
our
you will
town.
have these armaments. If these armaments are brought onto our islands by elves, we will not concern ourselves with the sharing of blood, for we will spill it. These articles will not be used on our island, and no such settlements will be placed on our island as well.
That's fine. We were actually coming to speak to you about your island and hoping that you would be willing to defend it, as we have heard from the Adamant Isle that they wish to take over it. As you know, we often have hunters come and help take care of the monster issues that happen on the island, and we would wish to not lose access to that arrangement.
He looks to the dwarf, and then he looks back to you. You say the dwarves wish to place their feet upon our soil once again?
That is what they have said to us.
You see someone else kind of whisper something to him in Sylvan, and then he looks to him, nods his head. You, who share our blood, what is your wish? To kill the dwarfs to the last? Or to allow them to cross the bridge and take our isle?
We'd prefer that they not take the Isle.
I cannot be known if I can trust you. You are, looks to the elf that just whispered something. When you kind of look at this elf, you realize that they are very fair and kind of of hair as well. And this woman is apparently, from what you can tell, the one kind of focusing on the spell, the obscuring fog that they're walking in. She definitely appears to be older for the elves. You can kind of see it in her. Your guesstimate is probably somewhere in the 400 to 500 range. And she nods her head at what was kind of stated by this leader. He looks back to you and he says, we cannot be certain to defend ourselves against their ilk. Our arrangements have been fair, so far as to say. But we have conflicts we deal with on a day-to-day basis that we cannot turn our attention from. Is it your will to defend the island as well as you would defend your town?
It is.
As you are the child of the one who rules across the sea, the one who came to Nadrasi and found pleasure in all of us and kindness within, then I will allow for you and yours to come to this island so long as you make no permanent settlements and no efforts to take anything that is not yours. We have given back to you what was yours. Always. And you see this kind of strange look as he looks over to Quothus and then looks to Lady Alcantara. So, if you will send others to here to defend, we will allow it.
Very well.
Are you a clone?
Real quick. Did because I couldn't quite hear it right, so I haven't been trying to make any side comments yet. Does Quothus like recognize I kind of look alike, or am I actually the
You're
only
the one.
of
You're the one who's not getting it. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. So that completely changes my whole view of this interaction. I'm just watching it and it's like, huh? What is he looking at me for? Okay. Cool.
We will not make any plans to make any settlements. If nothing happens, the troops shall leave without any incident. And if there is a need to defend the Isle, then the troops will be here to do so.
Very good. And you will not ask any questions about our matters and our culture, as we will not ask you about yours. So long as you are within your right of defending, we will remain vigilant along your side, and will help where we can. We do not ask your help with our other matters.
Well, I'm glad that we could come to such an equitable arrangement.
The woman says something in Sylvan, which you recognize as her saying, "The hunter. Ask him about the blade. The hunter. The one. You know." And then you see the leader say, "I must have words with the master of your hunters, whichever one he might be." And he seems to say that second line, and everyone can see the deception attempt. Like,
He basically just sort of like looks at Krothos at the corner of his eye, huh?
well, no, kind of looks at Quothus directly and says it, and then kind of like changes his attention when he's saying the whoever that might be.
That'd be I.
We will have words if you will come with me.
And I released the charge of the electricity and sheath the karambit. And if I may have your leave, milady.
Of course.
You step into.
And then I'm just like curiously like approaching them like, okay.
You step closely and you watch as the lady kind of pulls the fog down around you all, kind of blocking view of you, creating nothing more than you being a silhouette to everyone else standing at the edge of this fog line. And you can see him just fine inside of the fog. And he says to you, "It is my understanding that one of your hunters took one of the Ancient Ones from the forest. Is this so?"
Ancient Ones, you mean the schism?
That is the name that the dwarfs give them.
So, there was two instances of it. There was one that the dwarves had held captive in an adamantine object, and then another hunter had defeated an ancient one and created a weapon from it.
Do you speak Sylvan?
Sadly, no.
He says something to the lady, and then she starts saying something, kind of making a gesture, and it seems that she's talking about some kind of object, or possibly maybe about metal. And somewhere in that you heard a word that wasn't quite Sylvan, but was like a attempt at changing a word that isn't the language into the language, and it sounded like he said "adamasi," and then he kind of turns back to you. "Ah, I understand. A dwarf metal case."
Yes, but the dagger that was created from one of the Ancient One's appendages and the remains of the other Ancient One are now in the Elvish capital, taken by Lady Arisnodal.
They must be returned.
Like,
He laughs. Panic laughter.
Understand this. Our current transaction is between the dwarfs being defended against by your town and for us. And for this, we are granting you the favor of stepping onto our lands in the hopes of you defending yourselves. A mutual alliance. There is nothing that we owe you for this. There's nothing that you owe for us for this as well. However, our arrangements are strict. And you were told nothing of this place besides what was designated could be taken from this island. The creature was
Understood.
taken. It must be returned.
Understood. I don't know what power I have to accomplish this, but I shall. If you don't mind, I'll speak with Lady Alcantara about trying to make arrangements to return the creatures to the island.
The woman says something quickly in Sylvan, and he kind of, no, and kind of looks back to you, and then kind of gives you like a look up and down, and then like a shake of his head.
All right.
As soon as you can.
All right. Will do. Will do.
Make an insight roll on that last one, unless you got the message on that. It was funnier to me, I think, because.
I'll use my inspiration for the 22.
Okay. He said something in Sylvan to the lady who was looking at you when she said it, and then he looked at you like kind of up and down and said no in Elvish.
Like taking your measure.
Your assumption is that she said something about you to connect you to him for some reason.
Like,
And as you're thinking about it, you kind of look at him, and he looks like you, maybe like 10 years older, maybe 10 or 12, 20 years older. You don't think he's out of character. You don't think he's old enough to be your father.
like a brother.
Like a brother.
Wait a second.
Like you had the same mother, maybe. Alright, so moving right along. they head back into the fog, and the fog continues on with them, leaving you kind of standing there. The fog pulling away from you. I bet this dork thought he knew exactly how is this going to go when I said the name of the episode was Sins of the Father.
Oh, man. Wow.
So then, standing there, the fog moves away from you, back into sunlight.
I'm just there, like, I just, like scratch my head a bit, like, and then I turn, I look immediately at Halo, and, like, give Halo this look that, like, just conveys, like, we need to talk. I'm confused.
Without being ordered
Don't we?
Without being ordered to do it, the hunters actually move towards the armaments and start basically getting them geared up and ready to move. It did look like the elves were taking quite a few people to move the materials that they had, but it seems that with slight instruction and advice from Cyril and kind of the mechanics of it, they're able to take the 10 of them and move the 5 arbalists. Was it 5 arbalists and 3 ballistas? What was it? Do you remember?
But you said cannons.
No.
I thought it was like
Howitzers.
I thought it was like 3 and 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was a total of 5.
Total of 5 is what it was. Yeah, 3 arbalists and 2 ballistas. And these aren't, Dan, for your note, these aren't just like traditional siege weapons, like old school lame ones. No, they're pneumatic. So they're a little bit more powerful than, a regular crossbow. But yeah, the 3 arbalists and the 2 ballistas are basically able to be manipulated and moved at the advice of Cyril by the monster hunters. But the rest of you continue back to town. Less than a day's trip. You would arrive back in mid-afternoon.
I'm going to, as we approach back to the town,
Naxi again. Okay. And once you get into the town, is anybody splitting off? Is there any conversation on the bridge? I mean, it is a pretty long walk.
Did we
Yeah, I
hear
would-
the conversation between Alaire and
No.
the other? No. Okay.
I would approach Lady Alcantara, probably, and try to pull her, like, maybe even see if hunters can kind of run interference with other people, try to be as discreet as possible. But Lady Alcantara, yes, see, about that arrangement you just made, there's a bit of an issue at hand that needs to be addressed for it to actually go through without a hitch.
Is this an issue that can be spoken of publicly, or does it need to remain?
It has to do with things that pierce the skin and harm.
Give me a while to get back to the palace. Bring everyone who's relevant.
So,
Or
Tim,
keep, not
Ti-
palace.
Tim, would you make your effort to get to the keep as quickly as possible, or would you, with the relevant parties, or would you kind of give Alcantara time to kind of get there and get matters handled?
I guess I'd base it off of what my read of how she said that was. If it was like urgency, then all right, like let's do this.
It
If
sounded
it was just
annoyed, but at the same time, it sounds like something serious, right, Tim?
Oh.
Or right, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay. She's just annoyed that there's more, but it sounded like she wanted it to be done with ASAP.
okay, then yeah, I would circle to Cyril and Halo, and I mean Leaf was there, so
Okay. So here's how we're gonna play this because I think it's gonna be funny. Matt, give me an initiative roll.
Oh,
I've got a
Okay.
DC. I've got a DC for your initiative roll. It's the only thing I could think of. Okay, perfect. All right. So Quothis, Halo,
Man, I roll shit
and
initiative
who else
so
did you have?
much.
Cyril or Lee? Did you grab Lee?
basically everyone but Alvin, just because Alvin wasn't there on that fateful night.
Right. So he doesn't know about the squids. Okay. So then, if that's the case, you all kind of arrive in the courtroom, and it seems like court is being held.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was yielding time. I wanted to
Sure. Go ahead.
mention like the Silver Isle and the kind of doing an excursion there by sea, possibly.
You know that Balthar had mentioned that he could bring those items to your personal yacht. Do you want to like basically escort those items to the ports then?
That's what I was
Gonna
gonna
do.
suggest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lady Alcantara, do you yield the items to Alvin for that to happen?
I mean, is he going to put all of them on there, or
Yeah.
I suppose?
You would think about it for a second as you're kind of thinking, can I keep one? But you'd realize that the ballistas would probably fire in specific directions and the Arbalest would be used for firing in the sides, perhaps. So you would realize that it might, require all of them for coverage. But if that's the case, yeah, you take...
So long as he gives them back when he's done.
Yes, my lady.
So you would take the weaponry with you to the boat.
I'll
And
have
then
them bring it to the port. And
everyone else they are kind of entering in. It seems like you kind of lose. You wouldn't go in with them in your current state? Would you kind of go in secretly, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you all arrive in the courtroom, and court seems to be being held. And as you kind of move into the courtroom, you see that Lady Alcantara is sitting on the throne, basically saying, yes, of course. We will handle that matter within the 6th day. It is an important matter, of course. And I would like to give more information about that, but I think I need to do more research. And the man says, "Of course, my lady. Thank you so much for your time. I will come back in." And she says, "I would say 3 days should be the minimum amount for your return." And then she kind of looks to the crowd and sees you all. She says, "Make it 1 day. Return tomorrow. I think I will have an answer ready by then." Very good, my lady. Very good. Thank you. And he leaves. And she says, "I cannot hold court any longer. Please, everyone, please disperse. Please, Sahil, make sure that everyone exits the courtroom." And as she kind of musters about and kind of pushes everybody out, do you guys get pushed out?
I stay. Because this is the person I'm here to talk to, right?
"We're here to speak to her." And he says, and looks back, they're here to speak with you. "I need a moment to freshen up. Bear with me." And she gets out of the chair and just kind of walks away.
But how did you get changed that quickly and start holding court when you knew we were coming anyway?
I'm like gonna put a hand on him and be like, shh.
So wait. She walks into the room, and Alcantara, Lady Alcantara, you're like getting your gear off, getting the dust off the road, and she's in your fine gown, and she says, "You're needed outside, my lady." And she moves away from you, and you pop out.
In completely different clothes.
Literally.
In fact, the same clothes that we had just seen her in. So you would think that she came there, changed for court real quick, said, "Oh, I need to freshen up a bit," and then went and put on the dirty clothes from the travel to walk back out normally.
Perfect.
This
I'd
is
like
like
to say-
the worst moment of the end of the dinner in Mrs. Doubtfire, where everything's falling apart.
In literally about less than a minute too. Like walk out nicely dressed, come in, still kick the shirt, and
Breathing hard.
Oh, it worked perfectly. So yeah.
And I would like to say, I like act completely casual, go back, sit down on the chair. Yes.
I just look over at like Halo, give this look of like something doesn't seem right with this picture.
Oh, real quick.
And as he looks at me, Halo. Oh, you want to go?
Sorry, real quick. Andy, make an Arcana check.
Okey-doke. Okay.
Do you have Portent dice? Oh.
16's good.
That's the same, actually. It's a 16.
Yeah, 16's good enough. You'd know there's a spell in a potentially usable by bards called Quick Change that allows them to drop one outfit for another in mere seconds. So this is magically possible.
So Cyril just looks at Alcantara, just like a shrug, like, yeah, of course.
Oh god.
What was Halo gonna say?
Oh, so you wish to inform us of what happened inside the fog?
Oh, right.
Just moving on. That's all I was doing.
So remember that dagger and the creature that was in the adamantium case?
How could we forget?
Yeah, we need to return those to the island.
not ours to
Otherwise,
return.
the deal's off because they consider that part of their island. Since it's been removed, that was their one stipulation for the deal made about there being peace and us getting to defend it.
Huh.
I mean, Cyril would look at Alcantara and say, Lady Aristotle seemed pretty definite about taking that with her.
She already has.
She
She took
No,
it.
I know, but I mean, there was no question that this was hers.
Right.
This is her idea, right? To have us defend that island for her, so that the dwarves don't get it. So, if anything, this might be a way to get her to give them back to the island.
Right. Well,
He's at the perfect angle that his screen's reflecting off his glasses.
this is just. Part of me's looking up quick change stuff too. Like,
Oh.
just like the quick change clip to put in the thing. But
Fair,
anyway,
fair.
I also have no idea what to say right now.
A terrible idea for sure, but at least not the first part. But as we all know, Master Leaf has an excellent rapport with Lady Aristotle. They go way back. She loves him, loves his music. We could send him as a delegation to maybe convince her of the importance of it. And because I'd like to keep my hunters safe when we do have to go on hunts on that island in the future, I might go with him as a. This is where the terrible idea kicks in. To possibly steal the items if need be.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
That does
Exactly.
sound like a
I don't
terrible
like the idea at all. But we might not
I
have a choice if Leaf fails. I don't think he will, just in case.
Well, I do know that she did want things to be defended. However, at the same time, the other part of it was if they did not agree, she wanted them to be quashed. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of that plan either myself. So I would hope that that could be avoided.
Maybe this can be a thing of common ground. Oh, you like the Ancient Ones, they like the Ancient Ones, why don't we share everything?
She called them the schism.
And I said something different.
No. I just wanted to make sure you're when you're thinking about this, you recall that she, Lady Aristotle,
Yep.
referred to them as the schism, not the ancient ones.
Well,
What
I was
the
actually going to
Dwarves
say-
call them.
I was going to say, well, wait a second. What do you mean by the Ancient Ones?
Oh, right. That's apparently what they call the schism. They call it, they kind of brushed off schism as a dwarven word.
Indeed. And
Zero.
yeah, no, I actually had already made that connection, John. I was just...
I was trying to make Tim get it.
Huh. Cyril,
Yes.
do you think that Lady Aristotle might be able to be impersonated easily enough?
To whom?
Treachery!
Well enough for us to be fooled.
Are you suggesting that that wasn't Lady Aristotle?
I'm suggesting that if anything, we need to keep an eye on that teleportation circle and be more wary of this situation than we were at first.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's much we don't understand.
I think that's a good stopping point for the evening.
Man.
Thanks for watching, and we will pick up next week. Let me kill
I'm so glad that you don't make us paranoid, John.
Oh no.